Hello and welcome everyone, this is Blackadder at Blackadder's Place, and I welcome you to today's stream. And thanks to, great generosity by ChronoJJ, who has provided me here with the game and the key, we are going to be having a look on the released Retold after a beta a month ago. So I've already done some kind of basic testing as far as the performance for the stream. Looks like the performance is a bit better than it was in the beta, which is nice. But otherwise, these are gonna be kind of like the settings I'm gonna be using. At this point, at least allow me to use high texture quality. And it seems like that what is influencing the performance the most are terrain, water quality, and shadows. Those three I have kind of noticed are making legit changes. At this point, I'm gonna be keeping it at about what it's kind of like allowing me to do, about like 30 FPS, which is, I'm having 30 FPS stream anyway. And for playing strategy games, quite a bit alright. So it's not a problem, for me at least. And, it seems like that maybe also part of the reason why during the beta it kinda looked like that the settings do not do too much, and here it's kinda limited as well, is the fact that there is some kind of FPS capping going on. There's FPS capping at like 30, 20 and whatever like that. So I'm allowing 60, but it's evidently kept at 30. So I guess they just kinda like prefer to be having some more stable experience rather than jump into 45, 30 and blah blah, which is not a bad idea, because it is actually a bit more comfortable to look at if it's gonna be a bit more stable than if it will be jumping up and down. So yeah, these are gonna be there for the settings, actually fairly high, everything. I haven't seen that anything is making too much of a difference besides really just the shadow, terrain and water. Nothing else really, just like seemed to matter. Even just like switching into 1080p into window, like nothing. No difference whatsoever. And my computer is not really text, so I'm not really entirely all that certain. Can I right about now show it here? For a bit. Like, this is right about now the performance of it. With what we have here. So it's a bit kind of like a bit stuttery here or whatnot, even still. It's better than in the beta. So yeah, it seems like the optimization, at least they did some kind of work on that. So happy with that kind of result that they have put into it. And I'm kind of guessing at this point that we might be there for. I was already looking at some games, observing and whatnot, and skirmish tried. So it should be hopefully alright. You're gonna be maybe kind of changing things during the game. So I'm thinking that maybe I'll be liking to play few games possibly, and probably a bit more on through casting. Not expecting I'm gonna be becoming any kind of pro player. So I'm guessing let's maybe kind of have a look also onto the tech tree if there's some kind of changes. I'm gonna be probably playing a Hades, I'm thinking mostly, or Hades, Zeus again. So if there's some kind of major changes, I think not from what I remember. Hades, shades, hit points on the myth units, yeah, that's definitely quite a bit broken. I'm gonna be probably trying to play the classic useless nonsense with the Minotaurs and the Taux, trying to maybe come up with a bit of a build. There are plenty of builds already everywhere, but I'm just gonna be wanting to have my touch on that. Range soldiers and heroes plus range, fortification range, ballistics, burning pitch research instantly for free in their respective ages. Yeah, it's pretty boostodo, in my opinion. Range on the soldiers plus 1 kind of doesn't seem entirely that much completely broken in how the battles usually go in AOM, but we'll see. The fortifications, I think it's a bit more important. Poseidon, militias, sure, 0.4 speed. It's interesting how it's not on percentage when everything else is. It's kind of funny. But, nonetheless. Stables, markets. Classic. Exchange rate improved. No, that's gonna be having some potential in my opinion still. So, how are the Egyptians actually changed? Because they weren't even available in the last beta. I'm thinking there was some kind of nerfs, if I'm not mistaken. So, Migdol Stronghold and Empowerment. Camel Raider, Chariot, or Elephant hit points. Sure. Pharaoh Empowerment ornaments. Empower nearby building. 60% efficiency of Pharaoh. Yeah, I've already seen and read some things that the 60% is actually kind of useless. I'm thinking that still, remember if you were about here, or maybe you saw the video on YouTube I have posted, I'm thinking this might be having some kind of like niche usage cases, like if you're gonna be typically pushing forward in the late game with, I don't know, 10 towers, and you will be empowering all of them, that probably is gonna be quite busted. But otherwise it seems like that the consensus is that it's actually not that great for the starting conditions and kind of starting times of the game. Priest can empower at 60% of pharaohs, and this is of course only pharaoh can empower this. So theoretically, if you're gonna be in the late game, if you're gonna be having 5 Son of Osiris's, then I guess you can empower a lot of things, but get there, right? So that's not entirely too relevant. But nonetheless, New Kingdom Pharaoh is gonna be good. It's gonna be helpful due for that. So I'm guessing that's gonna be a lot more motivating into Osiris than into Horus. There's some kind of specialty here in the New Kingdom. Not really. Atef Crown, that's for the mummies. Why is Atef Crown on a human when it's actually increasing mummies or improving mummies? It's not making that much of a sense, is it? But nonetheless, Isesos. Cheaper upgrades? Sure. Where are the times when also age upgrades were cheaper? Old times, right? Town Center Citadel +5. Yeah, I'm thinking this is still a bit weird upgrade. I mean, like, it's increased from +3, but with how the game currently works, this is just, like, still useless. Pretty much at this point. I just really... It's not gonna be making any difference. Specifically for Egyptians, who already are, quite of course, having mercenaries on top of it, right? And practically even towers are working as an extra unit population slot. Very often with how they work. So this one, I guess, is gonna get a rework somewhere. I mean, like, what do you want to be doing with that, right? If you be putting it up to 10, this is a hard one, because if you get it too high, it scales too much, right? If you're gonna be having 1 TC, 2 TCs, then sure, but once you will be getting 3, 4, you'll be getting actually a bit too much at that point, even on top of it. So this is a stupid balance thing. Stupid thing to balance with how the way currently works. So could it be like houses provide +1 population slot? I mean, like, you're having how many of them? 15, 20, I don't know. So you could be having some interesting population, like an extra TC from that practically. Instead of focusing TCs, maybe the houses would be a bit more relevant, because that would be also immediately helping you in the early stages. Maybe a bit more than the TCs, maybe some kind of combo of that, I don't know. But yeah, I'm expecting this one to be somehow maybe changed. Obelisk being cheaper, build faster, sure. Shield against powers. No, well, they are just like really useless. We have already talked about that during our beta talk. That just like basically has spirit trees. It's absolutely nothing. It's useless. Just like doesn't do anything. I can't imagine where you would be wanting to actually even use it. Because frankly, even using it on protecting a TC, you're still gonna be able to task and cast, I don't know, even Tornado on the other side of the TC practically, and it still will be probably reaching the town center anyway. Meteor's the same. I just like don't entirely see where this is gonna be helpful. I'm just really thinking it's a way too significant nerf. And you just mustn't forget that you have limited amount of the monuments. So realistically, you're gonna be having most of the times 2 monuments, maybe 3 if you're gonna be, well, quite a bit focused on that. And that's just like still 3 spaces somewhere. So, well, sure, you're gonna be protecting maybe your town centers against Tornado, but that still means your forward base is gonna be open, or you're gonna be building something there, and one of your TCs is gonna be open. I don't entirely understand why they nerfed it so much. Oh, come on, I understand why they did it, but I'm just kinda thinking they did not understand what kind of actually power it is, and how it works, and what kind of effect it has. Which is, in my opinion, plenty of things that they did not understand when they were changing. And that's what we're gonna be seeing, of course, in the changes and balance patches and everything. I wonder how many things they're gonna have to give up on to maintain some semblance of a game. Typically, I'm thinking the Minotaurs are gonna have to be returned to food from the gold. Because either you're gonna have to be nerfing them to oblivion and making them completely useless, or you just gonna have to be going to how it was. I'm daring to say Ensemble Studios weren't idiots, and they probably knew why they did it. And that's always once you're gonna be having units like these that are... Sure. I'm just gonna having it up for some kind of performance on my old computer so that people can be imagining what it is. But yeah, when you're gonna be having units that are basically normally costing food and gold, and you gonna make them, quotation mark, fun, disruptive, that they cost some other resource, usually you are breaking the game quite a bit. So that's something that developers and designers like to do a lot, but it also creates a quite serious pitfalls through strategies and overall gameplay. I mean, like, Huskarls are a great example of that as well. That is also quite a busted unit, and it's a busted unit because it costs wood and not classic wood or food. So these are, it's like a classic situation. So I'm not entirely understand how they thought it's gonna be okay. But well, nonetheless, yeah, that's gonna be certainly nerfed, and I'm just gonna hoping we're not gonna be using Minos because they're gonna be wanting to be stubborn and keeping the gold cost. Really, all it would take would be making them food cost, and suddenly you can't spam them as quickly. Because you would have to be having different economy, and it would be a lot harder to manage it. So, actions and consequences, of course, there. Empowered monuments heal nearby units and generate favor. Okay, I've heard that this is pretty useless for the healing. You'll have to see, but if it's still going to be only active healing and there's not the passive healing as it is in Age of Mythology the original, I can possibly see something with that in the front lines. That depends what kind of range it has, of course. Okay, for Setash. Animals of Set. It's kind of like a bit of a discussion if the animals are more useless than in the original or not. I have seen kind of both ways. More people saying that they are useless, but yeah, well, plenty of people are not entirely good at estimating those things until they are shown how to play that properly. Big change is that if they die, even if they killed by units, there's gonna be food from them. So that's something that is maybe a bit discouraging, kind of like active play into the enemy base, because you're gonna be giving him food. I think that's a bit of a weird change. I think maybe it's supposed to be like a nerf to that kind of gameplay, because it is kind of like annoying in the original and slightly hard to balance. But I'm thinking that on the balance patch on Woobly we have reached a pretty good spot, to be honest. So I don't think that was necessary all that much. And it was something we talked about very often, that people could have been deleting them right before they died, especially in some kind of close proximity of their base, but never did. Like plenty of things in the game were played wrong by the players. Experts included, they just like tunnel vision and don't think about anything else. And unfortunately plenty of the changes have been based on that kind of input, the flawed input. So that's why some of the things are gonna be weird. And why I'm also kinda sad that the game has been overhauled so much and we won't be able to get new good players show the current experts how the game is supposed to be played on the original, or could be played. And we're gonna be having only the new one. But yeah, well, Spearman, Axeman, Slinger, Speed. 5%, that's not too much. 5%. Spearman is what? 5 speed, at least was in the original, so therefore 0.25, right? You're gonna be faster. There's something at least. Not a huge increase, but it kinda depends on the matchups. It might be helping in certain conditions. Yeah. We will see what this does, if it's gonna be helpful or not. I'm expecting it's gonna be useful for Spearmen, the others probably not. The Spearmen because they are chasing after knights, right, or horses, so that's usually where the speed is important. For the others, kinda like who cares, infantry is not too quick. Slingers against archers, no, they have to stop somewhere to shoot. So yeah, like legit I'm thinking only Spearmen are gonna be making like a proper use of that. For the others, situation also they can keep up practically. Barracks, Siegeworks, Migdal, Stronghold cost. Okay. Sure. Monuments reducing the cost of units in nearby barracks and Migdal Strongholds by 5%. 5%. Okay. Let's gonna have a look what that's gonna be practically meaning. So that's gonna be therefore costing 0.5, 0. Okay. 0.5, 2.5 food on Spearman. Gold is gonna be practically irrelevant. 0.2, I find it's gonna be 1 gold. Yeah, gold doesn't really matter. The food is gonna be kinda nice in classical fight. When you still have a bit of a touch and go economy, it might be a bit helpful. For the elephants, of course, it's gonna be a bit more relevant and useful. 18 times 5, or the 18 times 5, 1.8 times 5, so it's gonna be 9. That's already a bit nicer. For the gold, 0.7, 3.5 on the gold. But at the same time, you just kinda don't entirely make a lot many elephants, even though, again, higher pop limit in extreme late game is actually somewhat nice, because like 5% extra. What is it? How much does it therefore save? We say 9 and 3.5, so that's 12.5. And the villager is practically like 1 resource per second. It's kind of like depending on upgrades, but approximately. That's how it is. So you're basically saving 12 villager seconds. Or 12.5 villager seconds on that. And he's created in 17 seconds. No, I mean, like, theoretically, this actually could be having some implication that you need less villages for the late game. Like, you're gonna be able to shave a few of them off for maybe slightly better pop limit. This kinda seems small, but might be having some consequence. It's kinda at least nice that they are usually holding towards like the lower numbers. In the beta, they were at the higher ones, which, well, of course, proved to be quite often problematic. Because in Age of Empires 2 it's quite a bit easily visible. Plenty things are beginning at higher numbers, like 10, 15, whatever, and then they usually have to be nerfed. And if it's like an important thing, then it usually ends up at like 5%, or kind of scaled across the ages. I wonder when that's gonna be coming into AOM, because you kinda do have scaling like that as well. At this point they added it to myth units, heroes and whatnot. Oh, heroes had, I think, in hit points before or something. So yeah, that's maybe something that could be coming in a bit more often. So, dwarves, gatherers, sure. Yeah, I've actually heard from players that that's not much of a point to making dwarves. With Thor probably so, but with the others. It's not entirely all that useful as it used to be on original, so we'll see the builds. Okay, sure. Can be built research upgrades in Age, Classic, Free Dwarf for the Dwarven Armory. So far, I've also kind of like heard that kind of like the special builds for that are not entirely that good. I'm really thinking that it's not entirely that useful. For I'm imagining in team games you could be having a legit strat about that, getting armory upgrades earlier and basically like booming faster. I can imagine that to work. But in 1v1, I'm a bit skeptical it's gonna be making enough of a difference. I wonder if you can overreach and overshoot pop limit. Probably can. If you're gonna be popped on the dwarves, and then you're gonna be making the upgrades after for Ragnarok. Probably can do that to get a few more units. But that's probably not gonna be entirely too useful and too relevant, because it's gonna be hard to even achieve. Can research 3 extra dwarven army upgrades, classic. Odin, okay, faster from natural food sources, so hunt and chickens to get not anything but farms. 25 favor in the battle here from Great Hold units. Okay, Great Hold, that means therefore Hersers, horses, and their how they're called. It's a longhouse. We should be having Great Hall there. Yeah, Hersers and Cavalry, okay. And then the Gothy and Jarls later. It's kind of like motivating you to go for the Cavalry. At least attempting to do so. Regenerating 0.5 hit points per second. Well, yeah, classic problematic part, regeneration as always. Took several iterations on Wube as well. And probably will be one to be touched a few more times here as well, I'm expecting. Raven Scout spawn in, sure. Once the first temple is built and respawn after a short time after being killed. Okay, so that's how it is on Woobley. Used to be originally that you got them on H advance. So they didn't go back to that. Damage enemy units can spawn. Myth units, human soldiers contribute 10%, Hersers 50% of damage dealt. So still going into Hersers, but I'm really thinking this is opening a lot more of an opportunity for the normal soldierinos. Probably therefore down in the Herser play a bit. So the identity of Loki is gonna be most probably a bit different. Because of that, human soldiers, heroes, plus 25% can't damage. So is that like plus 25 into the bonus or 25% off the bonus? That's not entirely all that clear. Where is something counter? Where is this guy? Not gonna be seen. Yeah, again, just like... Why don't they like immediately make the tech tree with the information? I just don't get it. Why do they do this again? When you have to be like, most of the things need to be getting some further information as well. Like, just gonna do what we were having for by Ipert, and before that, Pete and Centillion were doing that 20 years ago already. So it is something that you want. So you might be having some toggle here, detailed, undetailed, whatever. I understand that you don't want to be overwhelming new players, for example, but like, there's like no reason not to be having proper statistics for... Because everybody is gonna be wanting to know that if they're gonna be playing multiplayer somewhere down the line. Just like, I guess, being lazy. And unfortunately hoping that community does work that you should have been doing and are paid for. And they're gonna be doing it for free, and you're gonna be getting the money for that. Yep, that's how the developers think. Unfortunately, quite often. Same as with the user interfaces, for example. Buildings constructed faster. It's gonna be relevant like on TCs practically, and not much else. I'm thinking, no, hill forts possibly, but I mean, like, Loki is not entirely all that supposed to be going those too much. Ox cars are cheaper. Whatever. Transforming gatherers and dwarfs into berserks is free. Huh. Now that one is actually... That one actually could be interesting, because you could be theoretically having... No, you can just kinda go for Lidl Ragnarok, right, with that. Gatherers and dwarfs into berserk... It's really... That's actually really huge. The more I'm thinking about it. This is gonna be having some broken implications. And applications on top of it. No, you just cannot... You legit get Ragnarok. Kinda like into Ulfsarks. So if you're gonna be getting the classic path through Forseti, do you still have the upgrade? Mithril or Dwarven Bestplate? Okay, I removed the Mithril because, I don't know. I guess it was more Tolkien-esque than actually historical for Norse or whatnot. No, then you're gonna be getting Bragi, you have the Swineray. Oh, it's actually right about now only Herdman, not the... Okay, so... Okay, so Bragi is... Okay, Call of Valhalla. Good. There's something else. Hit points plus 10. Resources return on death 1 favor. Jesus Christ, look at that. You're gonna be therefore getting... Imagine in the late game, 100 villages, you get 100 berserkers. Or Ulfsarks, and you just, when they gonna be dying, you're gonna be charged up on favor, which will allow you to do whatever, some kind of extra god power. Maybe you're gonna be able to get extra flame weapons from that, or extra Fimbul, no, Fimbul Winter is I think inexpensive if I'm not mistaken, or maybe just like more myth units. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing some kind of self-feed circle here a bit. That might be having some potential. No, Berserker Gang. 30%, 35% of damage dealt by all actions against the unit. Like, imagine right there. I mean, like, this is actually low-key interesting Ragnarok-like at this point. With Berserker Gang it's also super cheap. Can I actually interesting is if you're gonna be having some specific situation where you want to be getting a lot of favor early and you have Call of Valhalla, you can be turning villages into berserkers and delete them and you're gonna be getting like you delete 20 and you get 20 fame. I can't imagine it's gonna be helpful somewhere, but I can imagine some troll strats by somebody. Okay. No, and Freyr, the new boy. Okay, that's the Gulin Bursty. Helpful piggy. I wonder if you can control him, or if he's gonna be just like random. I'm not entirely certain about that. If you can control him, it's gonna probably strong. If you be like randomly controlled by AI, then I guess it would be probably alright. Technology is costing, it's actually a lot. But take 150% longer to research. This one is a bit interesting. I think it's gonna be a lot more interesting for Echo than anything else. Military ones are gonna be suffering for this. I'm kinda thinking they're gonna be a bit more problematic because of that. Because they're gonna be eating a lot of your time in the military buildings. So that's kinda stupid. They're gonna be playing especially early age without line upgrades in my opinion. But economical upgrades are gonna be definitely a must here, a quick one. As soon as possible in my opinion. Because the discount is just like way too big for the effect that's gonna be reached. Heal fort unit plus 10% damage. Oh well, that's practically siege weapons and not much else, right? You don't have from hill forts at this point. That's gonna be having the Huskarls therefore, and that's unfortunately right now it. Repairing buildings is free. That's actually kinda strong. That is kind of strong in my opinion, this one. But depends how well people are gonna be able to micro. And pay attention. Gatherers and dwarves can repair. I guess. It's probably not gonna be making as much of a difference. But definitely gonna be useful for like typically TC repairs, I'm guessing. No, and the Atis, shift buildings to new locations, palaces cost 50%, blah, of course, others are free, buildings are constructed fast, repair nearby manors. I'm still thinking this is a very weird mechanism that makes not much sense in the overall scheme of things with the time shift and stuff. So I'm not entirely certain what kind of strat you can be building about that. Not really sure, just maybe gonna be a bit faster therefore. On dropping your military buildings at the start, that's kind of where I can see some maybe edge. Receive 2 free myth units instead of 1. That is kind of broken, especially with, for example, behemoths. We already mentioned that during beta. And lost siege and myth units return 20% of their resource cost. That's actually kind of decent as well. Sky passages each age that are cheap, or the free almost, only a bit of favor. But of course you have a limited amount of them. All units have +4 line of sight. Somewhat nice. But maybe a bit limited usability. I'm entirely certain about this one. If it's gonna be enough of a, like, it's a nice upgrade. Something like Lord of the Horses, for example, for Posse. But nonetheless, as a major god bonus, it feels maybe a bit subpar. I'll have to wait and see. Damaged enemy units remain visible for 25 seconds. This, on the other hand, is gonna be fairly nice. That's, I'm thinking, actually something that might be having a really good effect. Because you're gonna be kinda seeing where the opponent is moving kind of, and you're just gonna be having to hit him once, and suddenly you're gonna be having spy on him for 25 seconds. So you're gonna be, typically you would be wanting to use Turmei, running around randomly and just like hitting, for example, villager and escaping and whatnot. This is actually something for a player with high DPS or DPS, APM rather, and good skill. This is something that will be probably almost like a map hack. So that might be really strong. Otherwise it really doesn't have anything. Which is kinda interesting. Empyrean speed, infantry plus 10% on the speed, which is kinda high, increase the 10%. That is a very high one, which is gonna be there for improving especially the Murmilos. And it's gonna be probably the most relevant. No, bit weird lineup right now, the bonuses, frankly. But nonetheless, I guess that's gonna be there for at least some kind of basic thing I wanted to be looking at. Okay, so let's give somebody points. And let's see if he even passed right now, if I'm gonna be having to reduce the statistics somehow. Or statistic settings. So maybe right now put this up. That you can at least also see how it's gonna be tasked. And text. By the way, looking actually a bit more smooth than in the beta.
A hero has fallen.
Will be surprised if not. That seemed a lot smoother than beta and we passed there. Still have 14. With stream. Okay. Not bad. Yeah, that is quite a bit possible that it will be like it. Okay, so... Sure. Yeah, the solution to the military I'll talk you here, I'm just kinda thinking they should have been putting it to rest, just making a clear-cut decision and be done with it. This way you're just gonna be having... always gonna have the discussion. Some players are gonna be wanting it on, and... basically, they're gonna be always having it on, and if they're gonna be meeting someone who's gonna be having it as well, then they can be having the auto queue. So if they're gonna be some high-level players who are gonna be playing like that, then they're just gonna be then facing like allegations that they cheated their way up because they had the auto queue, those two players, and whatever like that. So I'm just kinda thinking they should have made a clear decision either way, and don't entirely mind too much. Thinking they should have kept the auto queue in, because it's just like literally not a topic. It's like a lot of talk about nothing. Like, plenty of people play it, and played it, and use happily auto queue on villages, so it's just like absolutely non-topic. And never really was one. Just kinda like showcases they don't really understand their players and what is a real problem and what isn't. Yeah, that was just a benchmark for if you can be playing rated, same as it is in AoE 2. Okay, so standard 1v1. Yeah, we're not gonna be wasting somebody's time. Oh, actually I didn't set up hotkeys though. That's something I could also do. Allowing conflicts, yeah. I've already changed something in spectator mode. It seems like we're gonna be at least somehow able to change using hotkeys between the players, which wasn't possible in beta. It's a stupid system. I don't understand why they don't do it the same as in AoE 2. Don't understand why they are trying to reinvent the wheel yet again. But whatever. Attack move on space. I don't know. Not sure if I'm gonna be too actually able to use it or too used to using it. Alt B. Who would be like ever wanting to use Alt B? What the hell? Just some kind of basic ones. Casting god powers. Sure. Fine selection O. Yeah, that's something that should be on space. Why is it on O? On other side of the screen. Okay, we'll see how it's gonna be annoying me. Menu, I guess you don't care about too much. Combined ability, find... Okay. So that should be right now this one on my mouse that I'm used to from 20 years ago. So I guess therefore probably shift that. Should be useful. Select all idle fishing ships. I guess you can be probably having the same. Because it is still economical unit caravan. Same idea, I guess. Oh, can like the shift mouse down on select on idles. Actually, it's something I'm gonna be having to do something else. Yeah, okay, this one. So that's gonna have to be something else. Because I'm gonna be wanting to be having only villages, I think, in for this. Yeah, definitely. Okay, that needs to be something different. I don't know, probably not gonna be there for using it too much. We'll see if it's gonna be a problem or not. Shift E and Shift W, for example. Not sure. Select all idle land military. Alt A. Not sure if I'm gonna be ever using that, but because that's gonna be like the toggle to the top that I'm probably gonna be clicking on a bit more. Find hero, Alt D. You also have a banner for that. So fine, and yeah, okay. Okay, find town center and select town center. It's gonna be different, right? Building construction, share town center hotkeys. Is there like a select as well? So what does this do? It's gonna be finding, and is it gonna be therefore switching the point of view as well? Okay, is there something different here? Classic QWERTY, I guess you can probably keep that. Share town center hotkeys, advanced next age, H masons, ring bell. Village on queue, yeah. What? Auto train heroes? Oh, that's gonna be when you have the auto queue allowed, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be just, of course, in the hotkeys you have to be having all of it. And hey, Stephen. You play for 20 hours, sometimes fine, sometimes you just crash with D3, D12 error, very poorly optimized Sally. I thought, oh well, we'll see. It seems like they also broke something with the latest patch that they released somewhere on Saturday or whatnot. Or they broke a lot of people's games. So it seems like that while the launch maybe wasn't that terrible, they're gonna be back to their old ways of breaking everything with patches. Granary hotkeys, I'm just gonna be clicking manually for the time being, so I'm not gonna be bothering with those. Classical heroic, no, of course. Good enough. Wall hotkeys, no care for that. Yeah, it's all standard. Has parity 3 even. I mean, like you have to be having something there. Yeah, it seems like that's basically like not anything like select and find, I guess. So I guess this is there for find town center. Is gonna have to go into back key. I guess it's gonna be it. From what I can necessarily use here at the start. Yeah, I'm not gonna be having any kind of great gameplay or whatever. So I just want to be having like 3 hotkeys and we'll see if we're gonna be using something more. Well, I'm expecting they're gonna be having patch on, what is it, Wednesday when they're gonna be releasing the game. Kinda like overall. So that's probably where you're gonna be having some chance on having some improvements. Lock mouse to window, sure. Not sure why that's actually default off. You definitely want to be having it default on, in my opinion. No, and something else here. Right off the bat. Sure. Input scheme switch, keyboard navigation, sure. Is that kind of like drag scrolling? Drag panning speed, can you actually kind of turn it off? Because I think it's gonna be annoying me to no end, as it was in AoE 4. Because I'm not entirely precise with my mouse, so if I'm gonna be clicking right, then I'm usually gonna be also moving the screen a bit, which is just like so annoying. Immediately autocue villages at game start. Guess you have a bit of time there to click, and it's probably not entirely... I'm not entirely certain how it's gonna be with the Norse. Depends on the builds, I guess. Allow village priority, but we don't need any kind of nonsense like that on the UI extra. One click garrison, not really. Oh, garrison and hotkey is gonna be useful to get. Performing same action, action and idle. Huh. That's very weird. Is idle being like an action? So if you're gonna be clicking on an idle villager, it's gonna be selecting all idle villagers on the screen. Because at that point I would be probably wanting this. It's the on-screen default behavior. Action as well with idle villagers currently displayed on screen. Because this one would be also selecting idols and adding them to the group. I don't want that. I want this, probably. Choose whether to show walk paths when giving commands with the mouse cursor. I guess, yeah. Is that meaning you want to be showing, like, shift clicking interim commands and places? I guess. I'm probably not understanding what this means. Looking at the gamepad walk path as well. Disable chat, recorded games last and replace. What does this mean? Does on mean you have an like infinite? If so, I'll be very much about that. Okay, let's gonna go on, and hopefully I'm not gonna be forgetting to check out after we're gonna be finished with the game what it did. Let me right now open where it's going to be. Because I'll be very much liking to be having that as Age of Empires 2, so therefore infinite recorded games. Cutscene character portraits and enable autosave, I guess, sure. You can't be turning off drag scrolling. Like, what the hell? Why? Okay, I'm already feeling this is gonna be a problem for me. Well, hopefully not as much of a bad one, but like, why is the toggle missing there? There's a toggle in AoE 4, for example. I mean, like, it always should be a toggle. Nobody in their right mind plays with drag scrolling when they play an RTS, competitively at least. Okay, so where was... Garrison in hotkey, that's what I wanted. Command hotkeys. Where is it? Yeah, Garrison Alt X. Would be very nice to be having on just like Alt click. Can you have that? What is it gonna be bothering? I mean, like nothing, it's not even a conflict apparently. No, and garrison therefore is going to be what? Now if you enter in a building with units, you're gonna be losing control of them, right? They're not gonna be selected anymore, at least that's how it works in original game. So at that point you're gonna be able to click on the building and you could be using the same hotkey to put them out, theoretically. Huh. Return to work, eject garrisoned units. That's the same here, right? Theoretically it should be the same. Repair Alt V. Alt V. There is V there. Yeah, I'm not gonna be having a hand on that point. Be liking to be having that on like some kind of easy hotkey here. But if I put it onto this, Alt and mouse 5. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be remembering that, but possibly. Maybe. Gonna maybe wanting on possibly like a wheel click maybe could be also an interesting option. Thinking I'm gonna be having to at least change some of my default presets on my mouse, because one of the extra keys that I'm having on my mouse is actually going to be an is, like a close application. Okay, let's maybe do that, because it's gonna be allowing me to be having some nice extra hotkeys on the mouse. Okay, so number 3 is unassigned, then 4 is close, that's the top one. Bottom one is redo. Okay, let's leave it unassigned. Okay, so it's gonna be potential, and see if actually the game is gonna be in the first place even reacting to them. Okay, it doesn't recognize them, that's sad. That's not good. Okay, so it's having a limited amount of actually keys that's, or inputs that's gonna be recognizing from the mouse. Well, that sucks. Okay, at that point, well, it needs to be there for this. And return to work, I guess. Therefore, let's do this. No, I'm gonna be probably forgetting this anyway, so... Yeah, we'll see. But nonetheless, default zoom level, camera behavior, that's on controller. Okay, we don't kind of care about that. Accessibility, I don't think we care about either. Player text colors, that's actually something that maybe could be helpful. Custom built-in placement preview colors. Toggle enable custom colors for the built-in placement preview. Because I'm kind of a bit bothered by how it's always looking like white, even if you are not entirely able to place it, if I'm not mistaken, so I think this might be useful. A minimap contrast, not sure if it's gonna be needed as much. Like, really, what is this matchmaking? Why is it taking such a long time when there are supposed to be thousands of players? It just makes absolutely no sense. In the original, for example, on SO, it would be just like literally in a few seconds in a game if there were players. So don't tell me that the population is already this dead. Like, really? 2 minutes? That can't be right. Like, seriously, what? No, that's nothing. The game is connected, because sometimes you need to be just like allowing Windows to be letting it to connect to internet, but nonetheless we already are in. And I was testing some spectating and whatnot. So this is just like so wrong. Yeah, this doesn't feel right. It's just like nobody playing 1v1, but it just like can't be true. There have to be people around 1,000. Okay, this is weird. Aha, matchmaking failed. Okay, that's nice. Almost looks like that really nobody is looking for ranked games here. But how the hell? I mean, like, we are at 1000, so it shouldn't be too hard to match us. I don't know, there are no options for like broadening the search as there are on the original game, which kind of helped, but nonetheless, like, what kind of range are we even looking for here, therefore? Because that's a bit of an enigma, not entirely knowing how quickly it's broadening the search parameters. But this is just like completely broken, it's not even letting me find any game whatsoever, like what the hell? This is supposed to be the thousands of players everybody is ecstatic about, or... There has to be something weird here. Okay, this is not correct. Okay, let's kinda see if we can maybe spectate something. And then we possibly can be going back to this, because I want to be having some game already. Now there are evidently people going on here and playing. So I'm very much not entirely certain why this is actually not working for us properly. Okay, let's see if we can be finding some interesting names here. Kimo with Mr. Destructo. Let's have a look maybe at Kimo if we can. Okay, this is also taking some weird long time. Probably gonna be having to restart the game, I imagine, because this is looking somewhat weird. Yeah, that's not even loading in. It's kind of like the classic situation where I had to be unfortunately quitting, sorry. Yeah, okay. No, so that's great. Because I've already noticed there is some kind of like prompt that's gonna be allowing you to go back from this if it's gonna be taking too long. But apparently this wasn't considered too long, I guess. Okay, so... Gonna have to therefore restart. And hopefully that's gonna be the trick. Okay, let's see if we can be right now therefore joining into some kind of random game immediately. If maybe there was something, I don't know why, wrong with the game and didn't want to be properly connecting or something. And I've already spectated the game before when I was testing the settings. So it should be working somehow. But it seems like that right now it's kind of refusing to do so. No, again, like a minute waiting time, that's complete nonsense. Has to be something going on. Yeah, it's just like no point in this. Okay, this reset. I guess I would like to try some 1v1 first. Assless chat. Okay, we can be having a look at Dautino, old school expert, if the game is gonna be allowing us. Ah, right now maybe fine level. I need to find some kind of comfortable spot so that we can experience this game properly. No, this is something that should have been shown before and it wasn't, so yeah, that also doesn't seem to be working too well and every single time. So is the spectating still as trash as it used to be in beta? Looks like it, maybe it still is. I've at least seen some improvements on the interface there. Improved a few things that were annoying. Okay, it seems like... Why is it just kind of like always being dark and we can't see the things? I'm just gonna be focusing this error message. Or waiting message. But nonetheless, at least you're gonna be there for in at this point for some casting. And maybe later we are going to be having... Ah, this is right now what it actually does. Kind of like the pathing. Huh. Is it really useful there for the setting or not? No, it's not. Okay, let's turn it off. That was inaccessibility, right? If I'm not mistaken. Actually, it wasn't. So therefore, was it in-game? Yes. Okay. So, let us have a look at the game. At this point, we're gonna be watching Inquisidor Tortillum the Third, and he's gonna be playing against the Gamer Legion Doubt, aka Elklan Schmecker from 20 years ago. He used to be even expert at RTS Sanctuary. So, it seems like we're gonna be right now therefore starting with, what do we have, Freyr here. I'm still kinda like looking for the Freyr name somewhere near to the player here. Fortunately, you don't even have anything all that specific. Like, for example, you have the Scarab. If you could be having some symbol of the god, that would be really useful for a bit more easier orientation overall. But, well, you're gonna be starting apparently very quickly with the Dwarven armor here. It's an interesting build. Bit unfortunate, I'm not entirely all that certain what kind of level we are right now playing at here. What kind of rating Dowd has. You can see he's gonna be going for, apparently. He's playing Freyr. And he's getting right now all the copper shields. I was for a moment thinking he's gonna be playing Thor and getting the early bonuses, of course, here from that, but apparently that's not gonna be a thing. So let's reveal this. And what kind of hotkey have I actually put on that? Shift and right click, right? To be right now switching the POV up. It's extra clicks than what it is in AoE 2. So I wonder how long it's gonna be taking them to just gonna do legitimately shift. You hold shift and click on the player unit. And you're gonna be switching into his point of view. How the hell is it not the same here? Like, are they not talking to each other, or why are they, again, reinventing the wheel with that? When it can be that simple, and they already do know how to do that. No, but that's, well, the questions we have already had also with Age of Empires 4, why they need to be doing the same mistakes that were made 20 years ago. But I guess that's gonna be always a thing. And as Doutino is gonna be getting ready for... Oh, the advance here is gonna be going for about 4 minutes, maybe it looks like. As he's, by the way, playing... Oh no, he's the Freyr, and that's the Thor. Okay, so there, yeah, he was actually Thor. No, that's the spectating not being entirely too great, because I was looking into all kinds of different pictures. I'm just gonna be having to get used to it, so sorry. It was making good sense that he was going for the armory and the extra dwarfs, so it was the correct play there. No, correct. Depends, no. Because it's quite a bit expensive to be getting the copper shields this early, and it's gonna be quite a bit useless, of course, for fighting against the Norse specifically. So I'm not entirely certain if it's gonna be making that much sense. He's gonna be getting that because you don't want to be spending food this early, for logical reasons. So from that point of view it makes somewhat of a sense. But well, looks like you're gonna be there for advancing already. It's gonna be apparently Freya for Freyr. And you're gonna be seen there for some probably cavalry, I'm expecting. So Great Hall should be the next part of our adventure. So far nothing more here. He's gonna be there for... Okay, at this point, what am I right now getting? Oh, are they like switching right and left therefore for both? Because that's a... if so... Yeah, that's gonna be there for... Yeah, that's gonna be that. Left side is gonna be for blue player and right side is gonna be for red. Yeah, that's a bit changed. As of course in the beta, it was only on the player you have selected. So yeah, this is at least somewhat useful. So you don't have to be necessarily switching between the players too much. Wonder if there are gonna be still some kind of artifacts, depending on what kind of visibility you're gonna be choosing. So if you're gonna be there for looking here, what do we see with normal? This. And if you're gonna be there for revealed, you're gonna be there for seeing gatherers. Great Hall Temple. Okay, it seems like that maybe they at least fixed that to a certain degree, or maybe fully. Because in the beta, you were basically, if you didn't see it properly, you will have in random nonsenses actually showing when you will be selecting in Fog of War from the player's POV. Since I get here, it's finally fixed. As far as gonna be therefore coming for the backward line, first and foremost. So apparently where we left, well, players are gonna be again playing wrong God Powers, or God Powers playing them wrong, as usual. So there we are. That's good to see that it's gonna be the same nonsense, and we're gonna be still having more and more years of teaching players how to actually play this game, experts included. As you're gonna be there through for the Valkyrie, and that was Uller, I think he was advancing through it, right, on the other side. No, he was also there for Freya, okay. No, logically, and yes, right now cast the Forest Fire. Again, useless casting. Congratulations, both players have exchanged a waste of God Power. So, good job on that. So you're gonna be therefore heading into both of them, interestingly. Now, what is right now the Thor gonna be heading for? Is he already showing or not? So far, he's not.
Yeah.
Okay, Valkyrie is gonna get right now slaughtered. She unfortunately got herself into quite a bit of a precarious position here. As by the way, the villagers... By the way... Okay, you can't be clicking on that. So how do you learn of upgrades on them? Oh, you have to be clicking the eye, not the picture. Oh well. Okay, so it's gonna be already having pickaxe. And if you're gonna be there for switching into the other player, you're gonna be seeing next pickaxe. Yeah. Okay, so they at least fixed that. So happy for that you're not gonna be having to constantly switch the POVs between the players to have some proper information here. Otherwise, it's gonna be there for some Berserk and a Heresir on top of it. And what are we gonna be going for there for? I guess you're gonna be having to switch into Daud's point of view to have some kind of proper idea. And it's gonna be armory. It actually looked like a longhouse. Gonna be probably having to relearn therefore how the foundations are gonna be looking. Already quite nice raiding cavalry arm here. Ready and prepared with not entirely that many units currently, it seems like, for blue. Even though, I mean, like on the pop limit on military it's 2018, as Daud is actually a bit lower than his opponent. So where the hell is the army even in the first place? Like, I'm seriously asking... Oh, there it is. Maybe some kind of small raiding going on the other side. We're gonna be having to look at in a moment. Okay, Herser dead game. And that's gonna be there for the Valkyrie. No, and there was something else here a bit more. And that's gonna be right now some Forgotten Berserk. But still, I'm having a bit of a problem because he's trying to get a TC. That's where the army actually is going to be collected. Not entirely defending what maybe he should be rather doing. As it seems like we're gonna be already having the next age almost ready for Mr. Doubt. Now, he didn't entirely invest as much, so somewhat makes sense, whereas for the opposing player, it doesn't feel like he's gonna be having too much of a good time here. But at this point, yeah, I was feeling that might be fairly quick here. And that was quite a bit quicker than I even thought that it is going to be. But I guess maybe we can be getting a screenshot of this. What is actually the hotkey for screenshot? I think it's almost some kind of alt. Isn't it? Main menu hotkeys. Camera navigation, that's probably not gonna be here. We'll see. Maybe it's gonna be like a standard screenshot only. Hopefully. Menu interface. Maybe here. Not really. So I'm gonna be hoping that maybe it's taking some normal screenshots. As you'll be probably expecting. So that was a damn quickie here. Not entirely too surprising, as Inquisidor wasn't entirely ready for this quick gameplay. I can right now maybe check out the villages, how far they were upgraded, just the pickaxe in there for the raiding cavalry for Doubt. He was having apparently, oh, it's kind of nice, or they having medium this soonish. But well, that's kind of like what we mentioned now. You can, no, I mean like during advance, still gonna be wanting to make the units in there. That's also the first rock giant. Can see hand axe and pickaxe. And I guess let's definitely have a look into the post game, where maybe there's gonna be some kind of interesting information if they change something here or not really. Civilians, bit better of course for Blue, considering he was getting the ones from the armory upgrade. Yeah, I'm really thinking that's not entirely a viable strat in the early stages of 1v1. Maybe in team games I can see something being useful for that, but here with how quickly so far the game is played, it just like is a lot of wasted resources you simply need for some more reasonable advance. Like he was advancing 518, opponent 415, and that's already considered maybe a bit slower one, frankly. So yeah, I'm thinking that needed maybe to be a bit different. But well, they're not having therefore for Doubt. Or it's maybe chase for the Red Bull. I'm right now trying to remember if he actually classified. I think he didn't. I think he didn't classify for Age of Empires 2. So at this point he might be just gonna try harden for a Retold. We'll see if he's gonna be doing that. But I'm thinking it's definitely not out of the question. You can see economically some 703 without 2, but like 100 resources more for Doubt overall, even with extra Age advance. Still was having, of course, Village Peak in there for Inquisidor a bit better. But of course the Radeon then already disappointed him quite a bit. Some kind of heroic ages, fast heroics are fairly common from what I have seen. And fairly powerful. Wonder if people are doing some skill faster heroics with Zeus, possibly. But GG. Okay, so that was at least this. At this point I'll be really liking to play a game or two and give somebody points. But, well, the matchmaking wasn't working. And finding anybody for us. This point we can at least... Bit of a sad thing is that you can't even escape from this. I was thinking maybe I could be looking at the recorded games therefore. No. Yeah. Okay, so that's what it does. So you can be having actually infinite recorded games. You just have to be turning this into on instead of the last 10 replays. I can understand why they haven't the last 10, because the replays are pretty big, the recorded games. They are like 7 megabytes or whatever, which is gonna be filling space very quickly if you're gonna be spamming games. But yeah, that's good, so we can be having infinite therefore. Nice. Like, it almost seems like I'm banned from ranked matches or whatever. Yeah, this is just broken. I don't get this. I don't know what's wrong. Do you have to be signing into the Xbox network, or... It's not like giving me any kind of error for that, so it was possible on the beta to be playing without that. I don't want to be doing it, really. Well, I guess it's gonna be just casting then. Because this is not entirely looking like that we are having any kind of chance of doing anything here. Let's let it run to 5 minutes, and then we're just gonna spectate again. Would be also kind of liking if it didn't turn off the music when I'm alt-tabbing. That'd be also kind of nice option to have. Of course, as a streamer, you do that quite often. No, 5 minutes to nothing again. Okay, so who are we gonna be casting? It's gonna turn all of it off, on, whatever. So far we have gotten several minutes of waiting time. Once there was some kind of matchmaking failed. And that's our experience with ranked play. Thumbs up. No, again. Seems to be working for other people, so I don't understand what, but there's gonna be something going on here specifically. But we're not getting any error messages or whatever. We passed the benchmark with pretty much flying colors. We can spectate no problem. Game runs. Skirmish 1v1 works against AI. I've already tested that. So, plus, what is wrong with the game? I'm just wanted to be being generous and give somebody my points. Yeah, alright. So apparently no ranked match for us. Sad. Okay, let's maybe have a team game here, or well, pretty much whatever. Oh, a 12 player game. I tried to launch it, and it probably won't be even working. There was some kind of free-for-all for like, I don't know, 6 teams or how many, and it didn't even load me into the game, so that's probably not entirely gonna be working too well. So let's gonna see if that's gonna be some game with players I recognize from somewhere. Because I'm assuming the search is not gonna be working too well, right? I don't know who could be probably right about now playing. No, evidently doubt, right? Let's see, it's just finished. If he is playing, not sure. Kilominatis, but I'm not entirely certain what kind of nickname he has currently here. Because if it's gonna be like any search that we have in Age of Empires 2, then it's gonna be needing the exact name. Thinking it's gonna be searching just between the amongst the names of the game rooms, unfortunately. As you're right about now moving over with the keyboard, it would be nice if he didn't like black out kind of. I can understand that they are right now showing the overlay with the keys and whatnot, but that also is something that maybe could be nice to turn off. Maybe there's some option for it, I just didn't see it. Don't know. Can see right now some people from Xbox, but not entirely that many of them. Or actually right now we are getting into those Xboxers, so there is some kind of number. It's gonna be good to remember when there are going to be numbers from Steam Spy, right, and stuff. That kind of approximate number you're gonna be adding from Xbox. At this point it looks like it may be quarter extra. The AMD Firefox. That's a bit of a older schooly deathmatch expert, and he's playing deathmatch. I mean, like, I haven't seen deathmatch, so if it's gonna be allowing us, you might just as well have a look at that. And again, this is not like problem on the computer, like nothing is being text or whatever. The game just like legit loading something somehow, somewhere, and it's just taking this long. Now, considering how long it's taking, it's usually a sign that's not gonna be loading up. If you get into a game, you usually get there almost immediately, so it seems like spectating is maybe even trashier than it was in beta, as far as the performance. Which is kinda like hard to understand, but seems that way. So they're just like super annoying. No, game unavailable at this point. At least you get the message. So that's good. Plenty team games. As you'd be expecting, Age of games are very popular, especially for those. Hey, Jarinho and Zapata. Ah, Mark and Rad. Oh, okay. Okay, I want this one. My former clanmates from 20 years ago. Pulse work. Pretty pulse. No. Please work, please work. Okay, that's looking good. That is looking good, and that is making me happy. Nice. So you're gonna be getting a 2v2, and apparently Nublex clan is gonna be back. Looks like that Marky is has he actually already established Nublex clan? Possibly could be joining into that. I'm really also looking forward to how they maybe change the user interface for the spectating here. It seems like we still need to be properly loading up, because we have loaded the picture, but yeah, not entirely moving yet, so it's also something that needs to be right about now done, unless it's just gonna be bugged, and that to be sad. But well, in the meantime, I guess you can be having a look at Marky. He's gonna be playing with Poseidon. It was his main god those 20 years ago. And all the way to the bottom, that's gonna be Dratek in the other side. And he's gonna be playing with Hades. Yeah, I guess he's gonna be going for the powerful god currently. And are we gonna be there for getting some further messages that the game is working or not? Fugly Pump, that's one hell of a name in there. On the other side, he's gonna be there for playing with, what do we have, Isis. On his side, seems like the gold mine is gonna be where? Slightly forward, but it's quite a bit alright. You can say now the palms are gonna be protecting it from the left side tower there. So it doesn't seem like it's gonna be any kind of complication, but it almost looks like it. Unfortunately, the game is gonna be on the bugged side here. Unless they are just having some kind of pause or whatnot, because you have like 5 pauses if I'm not mistaken. But frankly, this looks like this might not be actually starting running, which is making me all kinds of unhappy, but let's give it a moment still, if maybe it's gonna be starting running or not. But yeah, unfortunately it looks like that the spectating is... I don't know what's the experience of other casters, other people trying that, but it's really kinda bad here. For whatever reason. But yeah, this doesn't seem like that it's gonna be working too well. You can see a ranger in green. He's gonna be playing with Freyr. Seems to be having right about now the gold mine in a fairly okay spot. Somewhat towards the back of the base. Not entirely that much of a protection by some forest line, for example, here to the right. But otherwise, I guess it's gonna be looking alright. We're gonna be at least revealing the map. Is that not... Yeah, okay, so the game is like completely at this point stuck, I think, in this state. And it can't be really doing anything, so I think we might just as well go out, unfortunately. By the way, if you're gonna be clicking on the god pictures, you're gonna be basically switching the perspective as well. You don't have to be going through... Right now, clicking on that. And selecting this. Same as you're gonna be clicking there. Also, what definitely is nice that they changed on the god powers. That they are having kind of like the timer on them. They didn't have it in beta. It's of course making it immediately more usable. No, so yeah, this one is not gonna be there for going anywhere, unfortunately. Let's see, maybe if you can rejoin it somewhere. Because I'll be very much liking to see that. But yeah, so far the online experience is pretty trash. But, well, that might be just gonna something in my specific case, because evidently others are playing. Okay, let's see if we can limit it. Maybe they will be still playing and it could be there for joining again. Maybe the game just gonna like ended when we were joining, and this is maybe some kind of weird state of the match and of the spectating. Retold apparently as well. Joining here with Elpelos also. Yeah, it almost looks like it maybe that the game has already ended and we just gonna join at a point where the recorded game, the spectating, was not already available, but they are not having that state taken into account and therefore it didn't give us any kind of error message. Unless the game is just like not showing up again here, because it's also showing all kinds of subsets only and probably not all of them. Yeah, I'm gonna be assuming that they already finished the game. And it just kind of doesn't want to show us. And didn't want to work for us. Oh well, that's a bit sad, but nonetheless. Hopefully gonna be able to catch some other one. I'll be very much liking to see the guys playing. By the way, did it actually make a recorded game for me? Blue Lagoon, Freyr, Thor, Oasis, Hades, 4-player. It actually made a recorded game. Wait a second. It made a recorded game, so maybe you're gonna be able to load it now. Nah, just gonna like start it and it doesn't show anything. Maybe it's the out of sync actually right now. People have been saying that practically like almost all the recorded games are going out of sync. So maybe this is just like really a bugged game, unfortunately. Or the view post game, huh? No, well, yeah. Just an idea. It did create that, but didn't help too much. Right, now Firefox actually playing standard. Okay, doesn't seem like this one is gonna be working. Hopefully there's gonna be a timeout. I'll be probably happier if the timeout was a bit quicker. Let us know a bit sooner that it's not gonna be working. No, but so far the experience is terrible. Has to be said. Or at least it should be possible to get out of it with escape and interrupt it. Sanito. That's like a cleaning solution or whatnot here in, not sure if only in Czech Republic or like the Central Europe or whatnot, but okay, new game. Okay, now we're running. Good. So it seems like that maybe this time we're gonna be in good timing for the game, and therefore, let me at least, not sure if us, if you're gonna be enjoying that as well, but hopefully so, you're gonna be getting there for at this point pretty much old school skillers. As Dratek, he was very high level, he was 1900 plus, Marky was like 1800 plus, fairly high level. Poseidon, Dratek was thinking pretty much like a multi-godder. He played in World Cyber Games for Czech Republic, for Age of Mythology, that was there for like 2003, right? At the time of the set. So I think that was the one in Korea, wasn't it? Yeah, that's where Dratek was. He also played in Age of Empires 3 World Cyber Games as well. In the first ones, and the second one that was played by Margy. Yeah, present in Czech Republic. Back then, in all those years. No, and therefore, let us have a look at this point. Mark is gonna be this time playing with Isis. It almost looks like he's gonna be playing a random god probably, looks like a Dratek probably as well. As he's gonna be currently having Mr. Odin as his selection. Seems like he already cast there for the Gate Hunt. on the somewhat expected animals here to the bottom, and he's gonna be having gold mine in a pretty safe situation here on Alfheim, whereas all the way to the top flank, the gold mine for the Egyptian is gonna be also quite a bit safe, no problem there. You can see protected by tower, forest line on the left side. Yeah, it seems like it's gonna be simple enough for him. Now apparently the starting hunts of course are gonna be quite a bit increased on the maps. You are not gonna be facing like 2 elk, for example, start on Alfheim anymore, which in my opinion is quite a huge mistake. That's gonna standardize into beginnings like that, because you're just gonna be removing potential like bonuses for certain gods, and therefore making the gameplay a lot more standardized. And it'll be definitely much better if you be rather actually introducing maps that, for example, had no hunt whatsoever. Maybe you will be surviving only on chickens or something along those lines. It'd be a lot more interesting for the overall gameplay. So I guess let's reveal the whole map. We're gonna be also right now therefore learning where the opponent is and opponents are gonna be located. Kinda slightly wonder if maybe bigger minimap is gonna be more useful. Just gonna see if it will. It kinda feels it's kinda smallish really this way. So let's gonna try to stream with this possibly. Maybe it's gonna be helpful or not. Okay, it's taking a lot of screen. So I have to see if it's gonna be comfortable, but at least nice that they improved the lush. As in the beta that was quite a bit terrible. So I'm happy that that's actually right about now changed. As Taux. It's gonna be Taux and Tanathos, so I guess it's gonna be maybe 2 French or something along those lines, looking at the nicknames. But Taux is gonna be therefore playing with the Gaia as he mentioned. Seems like at the gold mine bit forwardish. Of course, a bit more of a complication than in the original Age of Mythology, because the Norse are having only 2 pop slots instead of 5. So that's why it's gonna be a lot more important to be having some good spawn of the gold, as it seems like it here to the back is gonna be for Thanathos, who is right now performing with Loki. That seems to be a fairly good spot for him. Otherwise, for the food further, we are going to be having some cows unclaimed, chickeneros, and there's gonna be 1 extra hunt of elks. Not looking entirely too bad, but especially in the middle we're gonna be having some further ones. Is it only elks? No. Deer are gonna be still staying as well as an extra group. That's a lot of food actually here. Looking at that, everybody is gonna be having like 2 groups extra or 1 group. Now 1 in the middle it looks like for everybody, unless this one is supposed to be that as well. Probably actually. Yeah. Looks like that everybody is gonna be having like 1 berries and 1 elk group and 1 deer group, which still is kinda high, considering also the amount of animals in there. Okay, monumental villages. No, Taux is already through classical into 4 minutes. Making sense, and for the others, they are gonna be advancing as well. Just Marky is gonna be taking a bit longer, and I do wonder if he's gonna be trying to therefore play for faster heroic here, I guess. Kinda thinking that with this kind of advance he probably might. Looking at the resources for him. By the way, how do we actually right now switch? Oh, this way, right. I need to be switched into him. Yeah, the resources I'll be kinda liking if you have this. If you could be also somehow having for the players as well, frankly, I think it had to be quite a bit useful. Like maybe having a line here to the bottom. This doesn't need to be 2 kilometers wide and high. That'll be definitely on the nicer side. But you can see resources are slowly getting there. Feels like he might be faster heroic in, but tough to say. Because he's already going into also Anubis. So therefore the snakies already a preparation for the classical. As it looks like it on the other side there is gonna be scouting so far by Dratek. He's gonna be trying to send the Kawi home, but in his base it's gonna be apparently a great hold times 2. Going only for the cavalry here. Well, as he mentioned, of course, Odin having the bonus on great hold units. Oh, sorry, great hold units making pretty good sense. No, and for the Veligeros, nothing much there. It's a bit annoying how they actually move away the ox carts, right? And they were just kind of like moving somewhere, they moved the ox cart away from the gold mine. That's kind of like stupid behavior, kind of, that's gonna be getting probably annoying down the line. Gonna be having to reposition it all the time. And you're gonna be having some unlucky movement, even a 3rd great hall. Okay, I mean, like, considering that right now the raiding cavalry is actually made quite a bit quicker. Is there right now the info here somewhere? I don't think so, right? Not really. having spy and... Where? Oh, there. On the priest. He's gonna be casting it. And certainly that's gonna be necessary all that much. But whatever the case, he's gonna be there for having already some good starting army. So apparently we get in... how many? 5? 6 relic monkeys actually instead of the 3 you are currently getting. Okay, that's quite a bit of a significant buff. I mean, like, frankly, those relics were quite a bit usually undervalued in the original game. I'm gonna be right about now zoom in a bit. Seems like the zoom out is maybe a bit too extreme in there. Then you have the default. And just like players didn't entirely like relics too much. Hopefully right now they have been... well, they have been added quite a few more. And they are quite a bit useful. So I'm hoping that players are gonna be a bit more recognizing the value of picking them up. Seems that once you're gonna be getting a bit more units already in team game, it's getting a bit funnier. Slightly with the FPS, so I guess maybe you're gonna be also testing with reducing some of the settings. For 1v1, it seems like that it's gonna be working quite a bit alright with what we have, but team games are a bit worse. Wonder also if it's gonna be also for just the playing. Or if there's something going on with the spectating, because performance for spectating was in the beta also worse than just like when you were playing. For whatever reason. Okay, prosperity coming up right now for Marqueño. And is he therefore... yeah, he's gonna be getting ready for the heroic, but currently has to be of course relying upon Dratek protecting him. But he seems to be already owning quite a bit on the left side. Getting even a front TC against the Gaia, as Gaia seems to be, so far, trying to kind of boom up as well and camp. But it doesn't seem like he's gonna be also right now reaching a top level of efficiency there, just yet. Okay, so Carnivora. Let us see what you're gonna be able to do. Eating a horsey. The graphics were kinda weird, right? Didn't the horse disappear before it even went into flower? But not sure. That's a kinda wild hitboxes right now for all the stars from the Pharaoh, right? What looks like that you are not even hitting, and apparently you are. But whatever the case, that's gonna be there for a quick fix right now to the problem. And something else is gonna be right now up here. Not entirely too much. So far the defense is fairly easy. Seems like the unabides they were... he was also raiding a bit earlier, marking on green, as he was then coming home. But apparently not entirely all that thrilled right now Tanathos to be going into the fight alone. Doesn't entirely seem to be having too many upgrades besides copper armor, which is actually somewhat nice, considering that we are at 9 minutes of the game time. So where is Blue? Going apparently back with his Radeon, and he is going to be right back now without too many upgrades himself. Okay, it's gonna try to see if he can do something, because it's at this point getting a bit worse. So the biggest changes were from shadows. Let's gonna see if that maybe on its own is gonna be helpful. Does not really seem so, so let's maybe reduce also that. Doesn't seem to be entirely doing too much. And if you be going nuclear here into medium on that, that makes absolutely no difference here. Like really, just like one frame maybe if you've gotten through that. If you be going completely into low, that might be at least something, hopefully. Should be. But evidently it's not. So basically like those settings make absolutely no difference. So you can't be entirely improving that if you're gonna be right now removing this. And also it's gonna be doing nothing. How about anti-aliasing? Yeah, there's just like no settings are changing anything at all. Because the computer really isn't text. Just like there's nothing on task manager to be high. So just like something completely wrong with the optimization of the engine. If I'm gonna be turning absolutely everything off, let's gonna see what it does. Low, low, low. Let's turn this off. Okay. So you're gonna be turning absolutely everything off. Right, but now we're gonna be getting 46. You're gonna be having to figure out which one is gonna be making for the change. The game is not entirely looking actually that terrible, which is a bit better because in... Oh, again, this is actually not looking that bad. I'm happy for that, because in the beta, when you will be having the lowest graphical settings, then the game would be looking absolute trash. Like really absolute trash. So at this point it's actually quite a bit respectable. So let's gonna maybe leave it at this. It's still gonna be right now at about 30. It is at least somewhat manageable here. So maybe you're just gonna be playing it on that. I'm gonna be having to therefore figure out which settings can be turned up without any kind of complications. But since it's not entirely looking that terrible here, I'm thinking that we are gonna be quite a bit fine with the settings that we currently are having ready. So it seems like that Marky is gonna be already joining, not only with the second TC, well, actually that's not TC, it's only a Migdol. That's looking like a TC on the minimap practically. It's a bit confusing, but whatever the case, we already cast it all the way there. You could be probably a bit more kind of like open with your healing spring therefore, because it's gonna be healing whatever. If you're gonna be actively fighting or moving, it doesn't entirely matter too much. You are going to be quite a bit fine there. As opposed to the original game, where in the original you have to be standing still to be receiving some proper heal. Front TC right now for the Marky already coming up. And looking at the pop limit, against right now 114, against 66. Seems like at this point that the Nublex boys are definitely doing pretty well. Economically, it's actually somewhat similar as far as the Poppy goes there. But the huge amount of units is gonna be probably allowing right now, especially Dratek here on the left side, to do quite a bit more. You can see right now just a few catapults here. Oh, you actually can't see that because, yeah, okay, so a few of the artifacts or some of the artifacts are apparently still in the game. Because there is no POV by Marky's team. If you're gonna be clicking on them, you don't have the information. Attack Revealer, Mother Nature. If you're gonna be switching into him, then of course you're gonna be seeing Medium Murmillo. And apparently no further upgrades on him. And as for the Jarls, you're gonna be having at least Thundering Hoofs. You can see it now better 10% hit points for them, quite a bit nice. And all the way to the right flank, just a bit of a protection also by Dratek, but it doesn't seem like that Marky is gonna be needing it anymore. Oh. Not sure if necessarily Anubites are gonna be currently the best against Loki, but it seems like he's not entirely having that many heroes, as you can see. He's definitely not gonna be playing him onto his kind of classic strengths that we are used to. Heavy Raiding Cavalry, can see it now double copper upgrades. He's actually not entirely too badly off, all things considered. Would be also very good if you could be seeing per player population limit. Just per team, it's pretty useless. You need to be kind of seeing the specific players, because you also kind of need to be taking into consideration that not all the strategies and not all the civilizations are gonna be the same. So therefore at different levels you're gonna be wanting to have different population limit, and therefore the total one is useless. But again, well, nobody put any kind of real thought into the observing, unfortunately. No real input from a experienced streamer, I will be thinking here, at all. I was looking maybe with economy for the citizens of Green. So apparently gonna be having second levels full, which is not entirely too bad. Dratek is gonna be currently with an extra ox cart being built already on even survival equipment, so loom practically. The Winter Harvest is gonna be up, and the second levels too, so it's not entirely too far behind. No, and for Marky, maybe the farms could be a bit better upgraded currently. There are some bills for Mr. Redge. Just pickaxe and bowsaw. That is not unfortunately entirely that deep. Okay, so Dratek, are you gonna be going for some raid somewhere, or are we gonna be standing still? Okay, Rhea is gonna be in for some traitor. No. But what is he gonna be having to traitor here? Like, Valkyrie's probably not entirely all that worthwhile. I guess he's gonna be wanting to wait for something a bit deeper, as apparently Imperial Age is coming, or Mythical Age. And he's gonna be right now upgrading what? Tech. He's getting ourselves a Balder, so therefore Ragnarok is gonna be coming. And how many villages do we have for him? 88. Okay, that's right now the population limit I was looking for here, as I was talking about a bit earlier. So it is present, happy for that. 88, that's gonna be actually fairly good Ragnarok. Should be, no, 70 units actually for green. He's gonna be having some, only Carnivora, he was having some units there a bit earlier. Currently he's ready with not just catapultas, that's of course not gonna be doing as much. Especially since he's not gonna be upgraded in any kind of reasonable way. Trade working decently, it looks like. And of course the starting complications are gonna be already in. Oh, maybe getting like a few more. Caravelle Estate doesn't have to be too much of a bad idea, as they have been improved quite a bit significantly. Let's see another hero right now on him. No, that is actually working solidly, but of course we are still waiting right now for the Ragnarok to be cast and possibly beat the victory condition. Blue is going to be ready potentially with Frost, so he can just like ravage the whole base. Yep, freeze in the army. That is a just like hugely ugly god power right now on these. Not sure if it's only because of the graphical settings, but this is so terrible. Can't even kind of stress how terrible that actually looks. But whatever the case, we are gonna be having right now heavy Camel Riders on the other side with actually right now all the copper upgrades. That is somewhat nice. Whereas the cavalry is gonna be still heavy. Copper as well. Actually not entirely too bad upgrades for either side here. Though of course the siege towers are gonna be at this point fixing them buildings apparently fairly quickly. If he's gonna be careful enough. But he's gonna be definitely needing also something a bit different than only camels. Classic combination camels, charioteers, I guess, is definitely gonna be quite a bit useful. Dratek is getting like millions of upgrades at this point. Some Baldrams. On top of it, he's gonna be getting conscription, very good. Kuveri and Carpenters. He's gonna be getting ready for his rug there. Though, problem is, no problem. It's gonna be right about now at Hundo. Opponent is gonna be getting quite a bit high there as well on the Echo. But is he gonna be there for somewhat at least upgraded to be able to hold for a bit? Okay, that's gonna be a GG. As they are already seen at this point that, well, this is not gonna be working as they maybe planned and hoped for. And of course, they're just like waiting for the Ragnarok, obviously. And that to be just like absolutely breaking everything. Dratek didn't have to be even casting it just yet. Forest Fire right now making kind of like decent sense here. Also on some of the frozen army and opening the base maybe a bit more. Definitely happy that he didn't cast it immediately, as we have seen, for example, in the previous game. Alright, so happy to be seeing the boys get some good victory here. Now I guess let's maybe go through the upgrades and then gonna begin trying if maybe we can play a game or if we really can't. It would be kind of surprising or interesting if maybe it had something to do with the graphical settings, even though we passed the benchmark, but we'll see. Gonna be there for testing it on what we currently have. Okay, so apparently heavy throwing axemen, so heavy infantry, heavy cavalry for Thanathos. But otherwise, copper. Thinking it was there for the same even at the end. And finally switching into the charioteers here, Marky. And we'll already have it too. I'm gonna be having to get used to new pictures here. No, well, so far we don't have that much of a great experience with the online. It didn't allow me to play ranked game yet. For some reason, it just like doesn't want to match me with anybody. Spectating is quite a pain in the arse to even get into the game for whatever reason, because it's probably not expecting plenty of the states that are there that you can like load into the game, but it ends in the meantime. They definitely didn't kind of take too much of a care with that yet, it looks like. But yeah, so far, I didn't even get to play the game, so I can't even tell. So that's kind of like the big problem here. legendary Jarls for Dratek. Can see double copper. Not a little too deep on the armor yet. Yeah, at 1843, you could be already expecting something there. Can see right now second levels. He also I think can get in even the third one, so he has even full economical upgrades. Well, sad that you have such experience. I mean, like, other players are quite a bit happy with that and playing, but yeah, well, nonetheless, plenty of them are also sellouts and are hoping to make money, so they just gonna have to say that. And genuinely maybe even want to say that because they just want everything to be great and everything to be fixed and stuff, but yeah, so far I can't entirely tell because I haven't gotten to play it, which is kinda a problem on its own, of course. But nonetheless, let's therefore, I guess, have a look onto the post-game here. It's like, the highlights in overall, I'm not entirely against them, but I'm just kinda thinking they are picking maybe weird things. And they could be selecting and highlighting some more curious details. If they put their mind to it. After the frost, everything went to ashes for Thor. And whoever subbed, thank you very much. I don't have the information anywhere, it's not showing up on any kind of interface, so I'm just gonna see sub points going up by one, but nonetheless, appreciate it. Pretty solid performance by Dratek, by the way. You can see that he already is quite a bit stacked. I mean, like, he's playing Age of Empires 2 on a high level. He's way above 2k, like 2.2 300, something like that. Taking part in qualifications there, so he's playing pretty well. And it was definitely evident here as well. And again, he's having tons of experience from years back. He was a top level player or high level player. And in Age of Empires 3 as well. So he does have massive experience. Okay, GG. Okay, so at this point, let's gonna leave therefore this, the settings slow. I'm gonna be probably somewhere off stream having to figure out which ones we can put up on, which not. And I want to be right now spending the time on stream, but I'm at least happy that even on the lower settings, the game is actually looking better than in beta. So it's at least playable. It's not, it's kind of looking a bit janky, but at least it's not terrible completely. And also Stormin Normanau, if you are still around, thank you for the follow some time ago. I was having it covered by my task manager. Alright, so again, waiting to even get into that screen for ranked games. Like, that can't be just me, right? What the hell? Lower settings are good, but you can't micro. Hosting failed. No, great. Superb. Great experience with ranked so far. Or just like the multiplayer overall. How are people getting like game after game? And matchmaking failed on top of it. No, well, we weren't matchmaking yet. So this is my experience with online on this game so far. I'll be labbing to play like at least the game. But I just can't. Okay, so fingers crossed. Somebody's gonna be getting lucky to get our points. Oh, GLHF, sure, but we need to be allowed into the game first. I just kind of refuse to believe that you have to be having like even more than half a minute matchmaking at this stage of the game. Should be practically instantly matched. It's like no way it should be taking anything more than several seconds. I was already waiting for 5 minutes even, and it didn't match me. I don't know if you have like a new account, it wants to be matching you with new accounts as well. If there's something like some kind of weirdness like that. Let's try it run until like 3 minutes. And if it doesn't match, then we're gonna look for some further game to spectate. Okay, so yeah, well, we just like can't play ranked games for whatever reason. I don't know. We are not worthy, probably, I guess. Okay, so what do we have here? VortiX. Okay, let's have a look at him. If he can. He is supposedly quite owning. Just like loading into the games is absolutely ridiculous. Like, what the hell is this? Like, seriously. Age of Empires 4 takes a long time as well, usually, or quite often. But it's at least a bit more kind of like responsive to you. But Age of Empires 2 is almost instantaneous. Like, seriously. This is absolute trash. Are we just like on some servers in the basement? 10 years old? Or what is this supposed to be signifying? Yeah, well, this is loading a bit too long. It feels like that's probably gonna be bugged again. And here I thought that based on what I have seen otherwise, that maybe this is gonna be a decent launch, but like, can't imagine, like, if there would be people that would be having the same experience like me, I wonder how many there are, because like, the game is unusable, like, literally. This is just so weird, because some of the problems are similar to beta, but in beta it was a lot more workable. So I just like can't entirely comprehend what is going wrong here. Because otherwise it seems like the game is better optimized than beta was. But there are just like some different problems right now coming up. Briefcase, Deities of Death player. I mean, like, it's still showing here. And it told me that the game is not... Let's gonna try it again, if it's gonna be given some different... Okay, it's not even loading the game info, is it? Oh, it is. Oh, you don't click, it's actually mouse over, okay. Let's gonna try it again, if maybe this time the UI is gonna be having different opinion of it. Many people have different problems, others don't even start up, others like me crash other out of sync. Like, I just like absolutely don't understand how good experience the people, the competitive players are having. I just like don't get it. Like, they legit do. They legit do have decent experience. They do mention that of course spectating and recorded games are trash, but like they play normally, they play dozens of games, no problem. It's like, what's the story with that? Are they just like lucky? Because I don't think I've heard of a competitive player who will be having problems with the game. I don't think that anybody is like that is there. So why is it just like us who are having the issues? And where are they coming from in the first place? I'd be so much liking to get out of this by using escape. Like, why can't you do that? What is that actually like an idea of design? Oh, wow. Maybe. Maybe. Second attempt is gonna be lucky. Run in. Yeah, oh, good. So second attempt is gonna be apparently the charm this time around. Now, and we're gonna be getting to enjoy the StarCraft 2 and especially I think in Warcraft 3, right? And Age of Empires 4 skill VortiX, who apparently is making some waves in Age of Mythology Retold lately, performing on ladder game. So I'm expecting, since he is known as an extremely aggressive-minded player, I'm guessing he's gonna be wanting to destroy the opponent practically immediately. But he's playing Isis, so that's gonna be therefore have to be some kind of quick, fast heroic. Let's see what kind of time he's gonna be reaching. It's fairly common to be having sub-7s usually. So let us see if that's gonna be therefore what he's gonna be playing there. And by the way, what is the map? That's Watering Hole. No, Nile Shallows. That's what? No, that's Nile Delta, but without the water. Right? Yeah, that's gonna be Nile Delta from Woobly, but without the water at the side. Practically. No, they have taken a few maps like that. For example, Giza is Tropical Mirage. And then a few more maps there. I think they created something even new though. Like the Elysium, I think is a completely new one that I don't remember seeing before. But let's therefore see revealed, and he is, as you can see, it looks like he is not entirely even going for the autocue on the villages. No, he's not, because you can see right now, you can also see that autocue is on the left side. It's gonna be white, whereas to the right, he is having it right now clicked manually. So he's gonna be trying to play as efficiently as possible, which is always a good idea. Though it also has to be said that usually on the villages, you are gonna be hard pressed to be having some complications from having autocue on them, at least in the very early minutes or at the very start of the game. But I guess he just kind of wants to be having it under control and not getting lazy for the other games. So from his point of view, I can certainly understand why he'll be doing that. As apparently Jack-lastknight, he is gonna be having shared storehouse, which is kinda nice. It's a bit of a shame, maybe he's gonna be casting it there, because Slur in Retold is working as a granary practically. So he could have been casting it, oh, not probably on the cranes, I guess, but maybe here on the chicken arrows here to the right, just to save the 50 wood on the further granary. And all the way topside, we're gonna be therefore getting ready for seeing maybe what VortiX is gonna be doing. Trying to already getting ready for the advance, it feels like, bit by bit. I wonder how quick time he can really reach. Curious about that. Protection of the gold also by the tempo. Do you know if the crash experience might ruin your GPU? So far there aren't any kind of news that it will be frying GPUs, like what was it, New World for example was frying GPUs. Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition was deleting hard drives before they fixed that. But so far there are not any kind of messages like that, so you probably shouldn't be like worried too much, I guessing. It doesn't seem like that this game is like necessarily that intensive on GPU. It's more like gonna be kind of like stomped by CPU if you're gonna be having some weaker one. Doesn't seem like the graphics card should be unnecessarily suffering here. Alright, so getting ready right about now. And is he gonna be advancing us through bust? Okay then. Can actually see the bust even elsewhere. Apparently not top. Kinda maybe like if you to the top side could be, if you hover over that, you could be seeing that it's bust or something along those lines. You can see he's gonna be getting Flower of the Nile for the extra food trickle. That is a fairly expensive upgrade, but he's right now casting Early Prosperity on the advance. So he's gonna be able to of course pay for that. And 1 to food trickle rate. So trickle rate I'm assuming is gonna be like 1 per second, right? So that means 60 per minute. So that's gonna be in, if he would be advanced in 7 minutes, so he's gonna be getting 180 food extra. That's kinda something. Frankly, with the prosperity, this makes pretty good sense in my opinion. It's not a bad idea. Can get behind it. Very interesting is how far away the Pharaoh can be on the empowering, by the way. Right, because in the original game you have to be fairly close to the building, but here you can see he's very far away. It's a bit curious. It's an interesting difference. And he's going for the second TC. Okay, so he's not gonna be going for the speed. Again, as I mentioned, VortiX and Luciferon, both bros, are known for not entirely that much of a boomy gameplay. At the same time, it also has to be said that second TC is a fairly common strat in Age of Empires 4. So it's not entirely out of the question, to be honest. No, and for the opponent, he's gonna be going for restoration. Ceasefire, so that it can be blocking the unseas. And what else is he gonna be looking to get? Second TC or not? Oh, he doesn't have the resources for that, so that's not gonna be it. 30 favor for the second lure. Spawns chickens. Okay, quite nice use. You can't be, by the way, using the special attack on villages in original, so it's an interesting change, kind of. And also the animals are, if they haven't changed anything, they are not attacking villages automatically. Or they, no, well, simply they don't attack. They are not aggressive animals anymore, as they used to be. Which, on one hand, it's always kind of was a bit of an annoyance for competitive gameplay. Interestingly, kind of almost hidden here. But at the same time, it's usually a bit of a small thing, so I don't know, probably doesn't entirely matter too much, just like maybe removes a bit of flavor from the game. I have Ornlu. Increase the attack of counter infantry units for Jack. Oh, not sure if that's gonna be that useful, because that's only for Hippaspists. I'm expecting that the Isis is gonna be, if he's gonna be heading for something. Okay, wait a second. Sacred Cats and Husbandry. I was looking if maybe he's not making priests and trying to go for some kind of siege priest, which I wonder if it still works against Atlanteans as well as on the original game. That is, I guess, anybody's guess. Okay, hidden gold. I wonder actually when this was here. Probably a bit early, I'm expecting. Because, but otherwise this serves exactly the purpose that I always talked about on Vanilla, or Vanilla Original Age of Mythology. Yeah, of course, getting huge vision Just annoys me so much you don't get the vision side here, but nonetheless, it's practically like double of the villages. So if you're gonna be putting obelisk next to a gold mine, you practically are gonna be having covering double the area, and you're gonna be seeing much faster if somebody is going to raid you. Something that nobody has kind of like ever figured out to do in 20 years of Age of Mythology. And actually it's kind of surprising because it's not expensive, especially with EC specifically, and it's a really easy protection, extra measure of it. Alright, so interesting is gonna be going for the barracks, and apparently therefore shunning the heroic age currently. Curioso. I kinda liking the bigger minimap for the casting. I'm not entirely certain though if it's not taking too much of the screen. I'm kinda waiting for some better user interface. That's gonna be removing this nonsense, you just like don't need it here. Minimap is gonna be lower, making right about now a bit nicer. Because the top I'm fine with. I kinda want to be having the screen and the size of the numbers this way. But this one is just like sore on the eyes, and thinking that even the minimap could be positioned maybe slightly better possibly. Okay then, so second TC also right about now ready for blue. It's already gonna be actively scouting the front one, which, yeah, well, he's gonna be already disappointed with. Gonna be seeing the opponent is close, but it's a bit of a weird positioning of the barracks. It's like between, or the behind the wood line, and that is certain if he was trying to protect the gold mine, for example, in there, or what the idea is. But I'm kinda slightly afraid he might be actually also spawning units about here. Maybe they're gonna be getting blocked. So I'm kinda hoping for him that's not gonna be the case. However, Priestess are gonna be at this point maybe ready to heal themselves. And I'm looking forward if they're gonna be healing each other. Stop boys somewhere and start healing pulse. Oh no, they're shooting at something. Oh, Pegasus. Not gonna be letting them stand still. I just kinda want to be seeing what's going to happen. If they're gonna be having kinda like malus on the healing or not, that's something I want to be all seeing. I just like plenty of things to test. Okay. Yeah, they seem to be full, right? Yeah, I'm fairly certain that they were healing at full rate, even when they were all working. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So we don't have any kind of passive and active healing rate in Age of Mythology. That's opening all kinds of possible problems for certain situations. And it's gonna be definitely also making a lot of things way easier. That is a huge hoplon he's having right now at Zeus though. That shield is massive. But that's how it used to be, so it's actually a bit more accurate. No, and well, how about you boys actually? They don't clear up. Wow, you actually, if you select them to attack, they don't automatically clear up. Interesting. Not sure if that's frankly in the original. If they are like tasked, if they are gonna be standing still. Don't entirely remember any kind of case like that specifically. You can see Pharaoh healing. No, this is right now gonna be putting the interest into kind of like the healing rates of things, like for example into the monuments. I'm thinking that you're gonna be wanting to therefore play a forward monument and empower with Pharaoh, and it's gonna be healing your whole army if you don't have the passive and active healing rates. So I'm thinking that maybe if people are not doing that, maybe they are not entirely understanding how it works yet. That's where maybe the power could be coming from. Okay, so ceasefire coming up. Wait, what? Why would you be casting Eclipse? Wow, Eclipse is long though. From the minute, it's actually right now 1 minute and what is it, half? 25 or whatnot. That is insane. While, for example, ceasefire got cut into like 30 seconds, right? No, but nonetheless, so far, Kentaur Polemarch even here. Ready for the fight. Heavy spearmen already prepared right now for VortiX Senyo. Doesn't seem to be having upgrades from armory. Having still some nice numbers on the percentages. And trying to pull down the watchtower as well. And Ansi's coming up. And of course, with the ceasefire right now utilized, it's gonna be there for a bit easier. And look at the Ansis. Yeah, well, they're not really they're not skeletons anymore. As they used to be. They are changed. They are changed here. And we're gonna be therefore getting VortiX's victory. He played it with second TC, I'm slightly maybe surprised by that. I'm thinking he will be better suited with 1 TC faster heroic simply with Isis and the old school play. Thinking he will be pretty dangerous with that and his micro abilities. But nonetheless, well, Jack-lastknight, he didn't entirely, I think, enjoy his time here. That's also quite a bit ugly effect on the minions. On these graphical settings, I'm gonna be assuming, right? No, it's not entirely that much better here. Yeah, this is something I'm gonna be wanting to play with. But now I'm just gonna be maybe leaving it as it is so that we can at least maybe enjoy even the team games. And yeah, it's not looking as trash, but it's also not looking as good as the original game has to be set on the lowest settings. Which is a bit of a sad story, and that is the case in the games with remasters. But nonetheless, that was a fairly good performance by VortiX, very controlled. Didn't seem like he was having any kind of issue any moment. But at the same time, he just kind of didn't have as much of a competition to overcome, it looks like. Can see pickaxe for him, husbandry, sacred cats. At early Flood of the Nile during the early prosperity. That's an interesting thought right there. Medium slingers, can see right now. He was only on the slingers and spearmen, right? Because he was kind of expecting to be countering horsemen and something, but unfortunately the opponent didn't really get into too much of an army here just yet. That's the few sheep or goats actually getting quite a bit fat. But let's have a look, I guess, into the post game and then another attempt if maybe we can play a game today or not. No, yeah, unfortunately you can see Jack didn't really have enough time to produce the army just yet. It would be kind of nice if you are watching the live games, if you could be seeing the ratings. I mean, like, that's something that you don't see even in AoE 2, for example. But nonetheless, I think it would be nice if you could, if maybe even just like hovering over the picture, you could be seeing the numbers, because that is something that you can get in 2DE, if I'm not mistaken, in the post game. Thinking that you, thinking, yeah. I want to say that, yeah, that you can get information on the player in the post game. At minimum, there's gonna be like a link on the player profile, if I'm not mistaken. You can see VortiX of 790, and it's gonna be 2-2 for what is it, 3-9, so 2,100 more for VortiX. Villager peak somewhat similar, but the efficiency not entirely there, and you can see the army. And by the way, he didn't even use siege towers. Imagine when he's gonna be adding siege towers into the mix. But he was mostly in the classical age, right? So I barely spent some time in the heroic. GG. So attempt number X. But I'm not being optimistic. That's gonna be some kind of problem I'm gonna have to solve somehow. Let's give it like a minute and a half. I'm just like really refuse to believe, you know, you shouldn't be getting a match before that. So, and considering that we do know that it's somehow bugged. I don't know what could be the issue. Could potentially try to sign up into the Xbox network if maybe that's gonna be helping. I usually don't do that because in AoE 2DE I was having the different opposite problem. That if I was signed in into the Xbox, then it kinda commonly prevented me from going into multiplayer. And because there's just like constantly some problems with that. So I wonder if maybe it hasn't turned around here somehow. But I don't remember what kind of password I have there. But I can probably find it. Okay, that's not showing on stream, right? Nope, that's gonna be going out. Okay, that's not even properly showing any... Oh. Wow, that's not even working. That's showing literally... Oh, no, good. I was afraid it was showing only a white window. Okay, let me see if I can therefore sign into that. Okay, so seems like gonna be fine. Okay, so you seem to be in, so let's see if that helps. So maybe can like... So maybe restart the whole game, just to make sure that it's gonna be properly accounted for. Never know how these games are gonna be caching. It's kind of funny how it's at the start telling me that I'm having outdated drivers. No, well, I don't. Because for my graphics card, they are for the last about 2 years. No new updates at all. The latest updates are like 2 or 3 years old, and they are not gonna be ever new ones. But at least it's letting me to launch the game. Some games don't even allow that. You have to do it every single time? No. Don't tell me it's that stupid. Please let it be only clicking. Wow, it's actually not. Come on. At least in 2DE it actually remembers. Okay. That's a bit annoying. Considering it's also for some reason taking a bit longer. Yeah, that's a bit weird. That's something that should be, of course, cached in the game. Oh wow, we get actually a game. Is that actually something you need to therefore do? Log in into that to finally get somebody? What the hell? No, that's something we're gonna be testing, of course, immediately. Oasis. You have no idea who that is. He still can be, unfortunately, changing color. I don't understand why, but whatever. Whatever. No, Oasis. That's a bit, not entirely that much tricky for what we probably want to do. So, who's gonna be getting our points? Crocrodail. It's a Gaia. Huh? Let's see.
Etne. Tekton. Orthos. Pani.
But we have some sheepos. Yeah, gonna be right bad now having to decrease the distance here a bit. Maybe I actually want to be going here. Okay, so 5 villages. Let's gonna see if it's gonna be working alright enough. Oh, we have discovered the further hunt. Very neat, Sam. Where do we at? 8. 3 on wood. I guess you're gonna be therefore needing something already to switch over. Not there. He's... Oh, well. She's of course going for the gold. Why? Yeah. Why is the shift click and shift command not working properly? Okay, I'm gonna be probably having to switch the shift command how it works, it seems like. Why is the first click not being recognized there? Oh, that's gonna be from the spectating actually. They have actually bugged things. Because I'm having shift right click on spectating, and apparently the spectating is interfering with this. Alright, we need to turn that off because that's a problem currently. I don't know, shift whatever. Alright, this one's just gonna be all over the place, unfortunately. Because of that problem, right about now messing us up. And Katirengs, thank you very much for your 31 months already. No, we're not gonna be entirely needing actually that much food here. So that's not entirely all that necessary. Okay. Wanted to be maybe going a bit further, but I can't be entirely wasting too much time here anymore. I'm thinking that we can already right now build a new storehouse as well. Catastropos dead guy, but whatever. No, not much of an icon, old school one, I'll be thinking, but okay, can already turn that off. Thinking we're gonna be already ready, could be even force dropping that. Or are you advancing? 430, not the greatest. Yeah, favor is unfortunately of course infinite, so you need to be right now moving that over quickly. And right now we also need to be moving you over. And we need like, I think in 4 villages if I'm not mistaken. So you can go there for the further animalos. And we're gonna be needing probably... How much would we have? Enough. Let's get the hero, village auto queue on, and I guess he should be somewhat fine here. Okay, few goats, not gonna be entirely needing the food all that much, so I think we should be pretty much fine here. Let's get also Heracles immediately. And archery range, and you're gonna be there for number 2, you're gonna be number 1. And we probably do it this side now. Is it really faster to go here than go there? I guess it is. Seems like it's gonna be probably good computing right there, it feels like. Okay, we're gonna be a bit higher on wood than we necessarily need to be. Let's go for the gold. I think you're gonna be ready to go. Should we probably already now get an upgrade as well? It's a shame that I don't have Catastropos to have a look if he's already gonna be looking at getting himself second TC, for example, in the Archaic. How much do we need? 250, 200, oh, the 20 favor in there. Okay, so you're gonna be getting it right after. There we go. Quick is the upgrade, not entirely that much. They can't be even thrown away anywhere. Well, poor guy. I kind of feel sorry. Because, yeah, he was evidently just gonna have a natural time in there. Sorry. Mr. Crocrodail. That is right now his nickname. No, well, nonetheless. Yeah, this strat is just like completely stupid. I mean, like, even if I'm gonna be executing it completely badly and wrong, as I was, then it's just like... The fact you are gonna be getting this counter to any kind of enemy army for just wood and gold is just absolutely stupid. Okay, so what was the problem for us? We needed to be gathering favor faster. So the woodies, we needed to be sending a few more woodies on the advance into favor gathering. Yeah, being a bit more creative with the first villages on classical age. You need to be sending them... No, yeah. You're gonna be sending more on favor, you need it faster. The wood is gonna be fine. So you can potentially get some first out of advance on wood and gold, switch it over kind of. Oh, but of course forward build is quite a bit useful here. You also need to be advancing a bit faster. I was all over the place because I was having to switch the damn hotkey. No, I mean, like, yeah, at this point it's pretty much an abuse. I mean, like, again, as I said, I'm really feeling kind of sorry for my opponent from Crocrodail. Because that one is gonna be, even if he actually played like a decent guy, I think it need to be a bit harder to deal with. This really is just like exactly showing what kind of stupid changes they have made. Like, really, I'm holding that the change into gold for the Minotaurs is a really stupid change. I wouldn't be surprised if they would have to be reverting it. Because I believe there was a good reason that was costing food. Based on overall design, it just like makes sense for that type of unit. And either you're gonna be having to nerf this strategy 100%. But the problem is, how do you nerf it? You can nerf archers into oblivion, and then you're gonna be making them way worse in normal engagements. You can nerf minotaurs, and then you're gonna be making them useless practically. Nobody's gonna be making them. Or you could go where we were and replace the cost, right? And going back into food. I'm thinking that even at that point it would be stronger than it used to be, because you are having a lot more food on the maps. And you advance faster and everything, so there's a lot more potential to this Minotaur rush with Athena than in the original game. No, and Minotaurs were already kind of slept upon in the original as well. We used to be playing them very commonly 20 years ago when you're Athena rushing. Minotaurs were always there. It was a lot more common. You were always having like 1-2 villages spraying and making Minotaurs into the normal army there. But that's something people completely forgot to do. And if you would be seeing here and there some Bull Minotaur strats on Woobley or... probably not on Extended Edition, but nonetheless, those were fun games and really good. Bull Minotaurs are massively powerful in the original game, because right now you have different statistic upgrades. Don't even actually know which ones at this point, I already forgot. Let me maybe have a look. No, but nonetheless, I'm at least happy that you managed to play a game here. Joseph in just the automaton from Advance, and of course he couldn't entirely do anything. Same as I'm thinking is also quite a serious now. You can see he was just like... Might have been like first game for him. There's like no way he's gonna be able to withstand this kind of nonsense that I have played on him. I'm thinking that playing without the upgrades is gonna be the correct choice for the speed here. The economy is powerful enough. I was a bit thinking about maybe getting pickaxe for better gold income, but I was having only 4 villages on food there. By the way, did they even actually switch over from giraffes or what they were gathering? No, they were on gazelles and they were leaving giraffes, so I'll be idling soon. I should have been switching them half and half, so that I wouldn't have to be looking at that. That was a mistake on my part. Relic, what did he have? We didn't even take care of. Charon's Obol. Obol. Obol is a... That's a coin. What kind of game is having obols? Oh, Diablo 4. In Diablo 4 there are obols. It's like a coin, I think, in obol. It really does not tell you what it... Nah, wait, what? Oh, there. Mouse over. Villages return part of their cost upon die. That's funny. Resources... Wow, half the food though. Jesus. That's an interesting relic. That is super relic against Radeon. Like really, legitimately that's good. 25 food for every village you lose. You obviously don't want to be losing them on purpose, but that is actually really nice. I wonder if you're gonna be having it on Ragnarok, if the villages die and therefore give you all the extra food. If so, that would be pretty broken. Huh. That's a weird relic, kind of. And the next one. Ah, Pandora's box. How did they change it? Okay, cheaper myth units, 20% less favor. Huh. Imagine if I knew about that one. For the Minotaurs. That's making them even more bonkers, because you're gonna be costing... they cost what? 18 or how much? No, 14. 14 favor. So you're gonna be removing quarter. That means 3.5. No. 10 favor for a Minotaur. You can... That is so busted. Oh, nah, that's a nasty combination right there. And also the problem is how cheap it is. 150 gold, it might seem kinda high, but for something like a myth unit, it's actually incredibly cheap. For such a power you're gonna be getting from that. We of course right now have the Bull Minotaurs already on them as well. By the way, what is it there for you? Okay, so what did we get? Labyrinth of Minos. Plus 20% speed and 30% HP. Third of the extra hit points. So good. And the speed is also very nice because you're gonna be there for better dodging. Potentially if he ventures too far into the TC range, for example. No, yeah, well. What did he have prepared here? On the chickens. That's kinda chilling, unfortunately. So maybe I'm responsible for -1 player on Retold. Hopefully not, but you have to be ready for this nonsense if you're gonna be wanting to play multiplayer. Did he have... yeah, Economic Guild? Yeah, well, he was just gonna go in for his Echo, wanted to be having a chill game. It's, by the way, bringing me to an interesting point that they removed Treaty. And I'm thinking that's also kind of stupid decision. It's not in the original, it's on Extended Edition. But that's definitely something that casual players love. And I don't understand why that's not added. Hopefully it will be. But GG here. But did we actually look through all the post-game? Maybe we did. Nonetheless. Okay. No, so at least we got one game. And considering looking at the time, maybe we could be getting like one cast in, possibly. By the way, how are the recorded games working? Because there were plenty of mentions they kinda don't work too much. It's kinda annoying me how it's not adding to the top, how it's being added to the bottom. You want to be having it the opposite way, kinda like the newest at the top. It's very nice how they add in the gods there. I'm liking that. It's gonna be easier therefore to find the game. Also have to be perfect in that at the very start, when you have like the few seconds before the villages spawn. Yeah, that's basically like to orientate yourself quickly. I'm kinda looking around the map, but I should be looking at the mini-map where the hunt is. So that I can immediately send them there and send like spare like 2 seconds, maybe 3. You'll be sending them in the wrong direction. Okay, this one seems to be working. They seem to be working so far for me. So other people are claiming that basically all the recorded games are going out of sync for them. For me, maybe not as much. So, well, I can just kinda barely play and barely spectate. But recorded games work for me, so I guess I'll have to choose which one is better. No, all working. Weird. Maybe they're gonna be going out of sync somewhere deeper into the game, who knows. Okay, let's find something to cast. One last game for today. We're gonna be having further session on Wednesday. So we're gonna be doing something there. Not sure if it's gonna be only casting session again or if I'm gonna be playing a bit. So if I'm playing as well, it's kinda a bit easier to pass the game. Sometimes it's getting bit long the hours, so we'll see if I'm gonna be only casting or not. Good content if you find me Grass and Flames games in Observer mode. No, well, Observer mode is quite a bit of a pain so far to even get properly working. same as even playing the game in the first place. We will see what kind of game we right now discover. I guess as the first one it's gonna be catching our eye. Jim Carrey. That is a nickname that feels familiar, maybe from AoE 2. Thinking there is a guy with that kind of nickname. Might have streamed somewhere. And ACL, definitely recognize him from somewhere. But I'm thinking that's an AOM, some kind of Discord probably. Lose is improve. Correct. If you're gonna be paying attention though, that is. If you're gonna be just raging and throwing a mouse and keyboard across the room, then you're probably not gonna be learning as much. Merman the tuna fish. Oh well, Admiral Akbar. Somebody being fancy. At least that's a decent amount of games here. So I wonder if maybe they remove the filter and it's gonna be showing all that they are on. Which is a decent amount of games overall. So they're gonna be quite a few thousand on. Vodka, AoE 2 player, Magic playing against Dr. Bon Mahoney. Guess it's gonna be something random maybe. No, yeah, well, that's really superb to be finding games. You probably just like, I don't know how you even find the games. You have to be having players probably in friend list. And kinda knowing that they are playing to be knowing what you are looking for. Gabo. Maybe you could be having a look at him. How he is doing. It's gonna be like go towards the 6-6 and if you don't find something else. Kimo out. Okay, well, yeah. If he can get that, that would be nice. So, everything seems to be right now working. So, good, cool beans. And we're gonna be there for getting right now Kimo versus Doubt. So, somewhat of a new schooler versus an old schooler. And Doubt is gonna be there for playing, that's a Kronos, right? Yes, with Kronos. And Kimo is having Isis. Okay, that's a bit interesting. No, definitely quite some different overall idea on how to gameplay or how to play this. You can see right now, of course, on Oasis, you could be probably thinking it's gonna be somewhat okay for both. Shouldn't be having any kind of huge discrepancy as far as who's gonna be enjoying that as far as the civilizations go. Now I'm wondering if therefore Doubt is gonna be wanting to rush him somewhat quick or not. Or what's gonna be exactly the idea. Okay, we're having some decent FPS, so let's maybe make the game a bit nicer temporarily at least. It's a 1v1 after all. It's gonna be that. What else actually we can put in? Thinking we can maybe also go for mediums these. Could probably do a lot more with this. Since it's 1v1. It's gonna put it where I was having it before. And see how it's gonna be right now faring. Shadow can be like high here. So you should be at about a bit point 30, which is quite a bit fine. Since we are having 30 FPS stream anyway, we don't really need anything else. So we'll see how it's gonna be faring in the battles. Maybe you're gonna be having to put it back down. Who knows in the end. But let's maybe right now enjoy this game in the way that we have it, with already some, not entirely at much of a super early advance, but definitely looks like it might be a bit earlier here for Kimo. So I do wonder if he's gonna be 2TC, and I will be expecting that he wants to be just advancing quicker, because of course the Kronos against him is gonna be certainly promising not to be too forgiving. You can say it now, 2.5 minutes and get in there with the food already. So where do we have Kronosinho? Oracle's moving forward, and Temple is just now gonna be getting built with 2 villages. That almost looks like that he somewhat forgot. Obviously not entirely as optimal. And by the way, is it also with the working and with building the same as in original AOM? So therefore every second villager is gonna be only 30% extra. Entirely certain if I've seen it somewhere yet. But well, of course, that's making this a lot less effective than in Age of Empires 2, where it doesn't matter, because you are going to be having everybody at this kind of like full still. No, well, considering right about now you are basically not making this is making a little difference. It's gonna be making possible difference in the fact that you can't be making an extra priest during advance. That is maybe gonna be a bit annoying, specifically against Kronos. But for the myth unit, you just unfortunately don't lose it anymore. So that's removing a skill expression from the game for really no reason whatsoever. They've done that. And if you're gonna be building a temple later, you're still gonna be getting the free myth unit anyway. I'm really thinking that's a very stupid choice that they have done, and very stupid change. Because again, just like, it's a small thing, and they probably think of it as some kind of quality of life, but in the end, they are just gonna making the game blender, and they are removing, again, as I said, expression of skill by the players on timing it properly, getting rid of the temple at the proper moment, knowing what the opponent is doing. Just like, why? Why do that? And again, you can say it about now the faraway empowerment. This is something that probably players will have to be learning to do properly. How to position him into a bit more safer situation. And typically, of course, right now Kimo letting the villages go around, wasting a few seconds here and there for not much of a good reason. But it's gonna be somewhat of a small difference currently. Okay, little Prometheans already moving over. Oh, he didn't shift temple over. He didn't want to be rushing it. Mela gets a bit weird to me. If you're gonna be deconstructing the temple and therefore preventing the Isis from getting priests, I'm not entirely certain why, therefore he didn't try to be maybe pushing him a bit more. But well, whatever the case, maybe he's not entirely familiar or comfortable with that too much. And there's the town center. Or rather village center. So that's gonna be this kind of build. Of course, providing a bit of extra protection for the gold. Yeah, this is a build I'm actually happy we're gonna be seeing. Okay, a bit of a bugged village here. But nonetheless, Doubt is right about now using Valor immediately. And Wields, what kind of relic did he get? Tirfing, Anganter's sword. I have no idea who Anganter is. Heroes regenerate hit points while fighting, and wow, that's really good, especially for Ati. That's a very good Atlantean upgrade. Jesus damn. 10%, that's really good. No, quite a bit worthwhile, new one. As of course you're gonna be already having to head home, but he's certainly gonna be having some good opportunities possibly elsewhere. Not necessarily of course on the goats, but maybe going back for the hunt possibly. Could be a thing. Yeah, town center is gonna be there for right now, finished and done. Oh, village center, gonna be having to learn to use that as well a bit more. And for the villagers, looking at the upgrades, gonna be having just pickaxe. I'll be really loving, I'm kinda slightly sad they didn't include that. I'll be like in a hover over like that, for example, or something, and you will be seeing what kind of upgrades they have immediately. That would be so cool. That's something that you have on Age of Empires 2 on the Capture Age. It'll be kinda nice to have, so you don't have to be clicking on the units and everything on those lines, or remember the statistics. Okay, Tormey ready. He kinda missed most of the attack, didn't he? I'm kinda thinking he did. Tower of Cestus. Home to Hero and Leander, which increases tower attack against myth units. Only against myth units, Tower of Cestus? That's a bit sad. Doesn't improve even normal towers. Okay, that's little Prometheans or not? Yeah, that's the little ones, right? I'm always having a huge problem recognizing the big and small ones, because they kind of seem, they are practically the same. Slightly different size, but really just kind of slightly. I'm thinking that they are the small ones. Are they not? No, they're actually the big ones. No, well, nonetheless, point stands. But they're just gonna be me, eventually being used to it. Of course, the Valoreño, sure. And he's having the Oracle Swear. One, carrying home a relic. What is he gonna be getting? Girdle of Hippolyta for the range soldiers. That's actually really good for the Turme, exactly. That's nice. 10% extra HP, 8 hit points. Very good. No, and Kimo, he's gonna be getting a little bit ready with the slingers. Kind of like classic. Bit of an old school, at this point, actually, encounter. Slingers and Turme being the main units that used to be done in the olden days. I'm thinking I'm gonna be having some games of that on my YouTube as well. What is this one? Fetters of Fenrir. Villager, melee attack and range attack damage type. Right, so at this point it's not only against animals, but it's gonna be like practically increasing normal attack. So that's gonna be making them a bit more easier, or a bit easier to defend against repulsible raids. Huh. Monument at the back, blocking god power here. Blocking that. Yeah, I don't think that actually Kimo is even thinking about blocking god powers with them. No, it's like legitimately useless because the range is incredibly small. But considering, for example, exactly Kronos against him at the reconstruction, he might want to be placing it somewhat tactically. Like, for example, having it about here. By the way, can you deconstruct town center? I guess you can deconstruct village center. Town, obviously not, but village probably, I'll be assuming so. Just a guess. But yeah, this monument should be about here, protecting the temple, in my opinion. The barracks, who cares? That doesn't matter really. A funny pathfinding around the obelisk. But nonetheless, seem good enough. Armory ready for Kimo. But Heroic Age doesn't entirely seem entirely all that on the menu. Can I be having some interest in favor already? Valor prepared possibly for Taux. It's gonna be getting also medium Turme. So it's a bit interesting. I mean, like, interesting. In the original game, you would be having medium Turme immediately, kind of like insta upgrade that was removed on extended edition. If you're gonna be, of course, changing the game up and down, you might just as well change that as well. No, then a few spearmen here. That's gonna be there for Oracle Hero. Probably gonna dead Gaia. And apparently, since he's gonna be having enough vision, he should be also seeing right now that, right? Or, yeah, he has seen it. He has seen all of it. What I'm definitely missing here from what I like in Age of Mythology spectating in the original game is having kind of like the shared vision between the players. This is unfortunately done in the lazy way, as in AoE 2, and therefore, or AoE 4 as well, and therefore you're just gonna be having the full map revealed. I really enjoy what we have in AoM, because it's gonna be at least letting you know what the players see, and you can kind of better weave the story during the casting, and better understand their decision making. And you kind of see a bit more into their eyes. Okay, second DC for the Atlantean. You can say it now, we are gonna be economically hand-axe and pickaxe. On the other side, just like the text just loading slowly. That was a problem in the beta as well. First full line. You can say it now, Sacred Cats. No, he's gonna be having everything. At this point, as opposed to original, it's making good sense. Because just the animations are working differently here in Retold. And it's gonna be, interestingly, empowering that. Sure. Yeah, this needs to be tested. I'm talking about it for years. This needs to be tested. What is like the most efficient way to do this? But appreciate that is when the second. Probably appreciate or appreciate and expecting that the Pharaoh is gonna have to do something else very soon.
Into you.
Can be healing, for example, right about now with some monument later, or getting a priest to heal as well. That would be also helpful. It's kind of funny how you have on the temple infinite favor. It's something that shouldn't be really so, resources carried. Shouldn't be showing for other civilizations than Greek. I can see it's kind of showing for them. Makes one wonder. That makes me wonder if you can be as a Greek praying at enemy temples. Or can I allied temples? Interesting thought, how it's actually programmed here on Retold. Because if it's showing for others, you might just gonna want to be needing to have the villager that is having the capability to do it, and he might be able to do it. Same as it's gonna be interesting to see if you can deposit resources again on TCs of your allies or even enemies. Huh. No. Inspiration for some food for thought. Spell is coming up. Seems like a doubt is so far playing it fairly carefully. Yeah, well, he's gonna knowing, of course, that he says, and especially maybe if he's met even Kimo a few times, he's gonna be knowing he rather likes to be on the turtle side, let's say, if he's playing some serious match. I was expecting that maybe both are gonna be streaming at this point, so you can also watch their POVs if you're gonna be interested. DC on the left side finished, not being fortified yet. Bowsaw, that is an interesting upgrade to be getting first here, but why not? Still the first line only for Kimo. And how's he looking with the ages therefore? No, looks like that's a millions of food for Kimo. What is he right now trying to do? I mean, like, he's missing the gold, so therefore... No mismanaged economy, that's what it means, of course. Whereas you can see right now for Doubt, he's a bit more reasonable on that. Otherwise, he's gonna be having a bit more villages. And he turned one extra Turma into a hero. So of course, right now the Scorpion Men are gonna be quite a bit scary, but the army that he has... not entirely that great. What? Oh, medium Turma, it's not showing. Yeah, I was kinda thinking, what the hell? Why is he having the hit points he has? But that's the medium upgrade. Because, of course, only 10% here. Because the normal one was 80. And 10%, 10%, making good sense. Oh, Contarius. Really? I mean, like, yeah. Against the charioteers and slingers, it's gonna be nice, but of course he needs to be getting rid of the spearman. By the way, do Turmei therefore have some bonus against... only against ranged soldiers. Okay, so no. The spearmen are gonna be a problem for him. Yeah, he needs to be getting the archie for sure. So there we go. Ancestors are gonna be coming on the left side, and with the Scorpion Men that do not have any kind of crash damage, do they? They have just the true damage. By the way, does true damage also work against buildings? Not like it's gonna be anything too relevant, but it's maybe interesting little detail possibly. Wow. Maybe could... No, well, at this point it seems like they're gonna be so slow and the Yancy is that quick that you need to be... You don't even need to be going ahead of them too much. That's quite a massacre actually at this point, unfortunately for Kimo. Jesus Christ. Or for Kimo, for Doubt. So well played by Kimeno. No, so TC gone. Interesting decision right now, because he's probably feeling comfortable considering what kind of army he has seen to the right, that he doesn't need all that much of it here to the right flank. And he's gonna be right now confident enough to pull this off, which he kind of did, and now, well, seems like it's not gonna be entirely all that easy and hot, because Doubt is gonna be having heavy Kontari ready. Can see he's gonna be having bronze shields already prepared. I need to be removing the delay on the tooltips, but I don't want to be leaving the game now. That needs to be immediate. It's annoying me how it's having the wind up of like a second. And Satyrs, they seem to be having also some upgrade. They have Gemini on them. Charged range attack damage all times plus 50%. Okay, so they have like a special attack that's gonna be 50% more damage here and there. It seems like that's how they're gonna be working. How was it when in original? The original, the special attack was like splash, right, for Satyrs? Thinking it was a splash damage attack. Something along those lines. Atlanteans being without any kind of upgrades. No, of course, on Osiris already. And that's gonna be exactly the pain that you will be always expecting. He's holding it very weird, that stuff. And apparently he's gonna be still subject to the same problem of trying to shoot and not being able to too much. It's kinda like a nice one. I want to be taking a screenshot of that. As it looks like it right now, we are basically still in the game. As opposed to what you have seen a bit earlier from Doubt, he was having a bit of an ownage game we've cast before. Well, Kimo is gonna be having to work with this still. You can see on the villages 79, 78, so still the same. We don't seem to be having that much of a trade currently for Kimo yet. No, neither for Doubt, as he seems like he's gonna be finishing with the TC also somewhat soonish. Economically, second level. At about 17 minutes, no? Could be thinking about the next one possibly soon. And for the opponent, Kimo is going to be on the second level with actually Carpenters and also Loom. I'm gonna be probably calling it Loom because survival equipment is just like way too long to say. Come on. Pick up the Fetters of Fenrir for the better wills. Do they have a bonus against Siege here? I'm not sure if they do anymore. Does somebody know? They don't seem to be having it listed, so probably not. No, but of course Son of Osiris is proving quite a bit of a pain here. Exactly as you'd be expecting. No. Nice to be having the satyrs. But... yeah, well, they're just not gonna be doing anything against the Son of Osiris. He just needs to be figuring out... oh, well, either getting a lot of Kontari or Arki. Especially Arki would be, I think, nice here. That's probably what he's currently missing. Kinda interesting. Actually, right now, recognizing scene on the elephants, they seem to be having giraffe pelts, right? On them. That's kinda funny. Death animation like from Lord of the Rings.
Into you, Gary.
Medium Spearman only so far. You can see he's gonna be having all copper line at this point. And is he getting something? Oh, he's getting flat control, heavy charioteers, and also some caravans finally coming up, so that's good. On the other side, we're gonna be getting faster unit creation with apparently heavy Kontari, and Helios is coming forward. So we're gonna be able to jump around, but otherwise probably not gonna be all that relevant. For the time being, at least there is. Okay, so double Heka Gigantes coming up. Unfortunately, I will be not entirely using them now. I will be saving them for, of course, the jumping around due to their huge attack against buildings. Classic. There we go. Yep, exactly. Kinda thinking he wanted to be going maybe close to the TC, but I guess he couldn't because of the monument. But yeah, definitely double Heka Gigantes right at the start. That's the same as the double Behemoths we mentioned earlier. That's really something that's gonna be having potential for brutal power spike if you're not gonna be careful in protecting your bases. Okay, come on. Feels like that Doubt is not entirely aware how to use... that was nice. How to use them properly, as you're gonna be traitoring what exactly? Not entirely certain, but nonetheless, we are going to be having some kind of... oh... that was actually right about now the Chaos effect. Ah, that's the first one I'm seeing here. And no traitor, I was stuck in my head on the Behemoth, so therefore I am. But that is not something that we have here anymore. Or, anymore. Simply not now. As ballistics are gonna be coming for Kimo only now, that's really something that probably people will be having to adjust to a lot sooner. Because it's an important upgrade for the charioteers and everything. Can see how they're missing absolutely massively. And once they're gonna be getting that, they're probably gonna be hitting a lot more reliably. However, problem with Doubt is that he's not countering, unfortunately, at all Son of Osiris. Really, just no archers, continue with the horsemen and hoping that it's gonna be enough. And, well, Son of Osiris, he's doing true damage. So, at this point, it doesn't matter if it's melee or not. In the original, he was doing melee damage. So, Kontari, or any kind of cavalry, is usually having low melee resistance. So, therefore, he shredded horses practically. Dealt a huge amount of damage to them. So cavalry is not entirely as much of a correct decision there. Okay, on the village dead game, it's gonna be still somewhat solid for Doubt. He's at 90, 100 on the other side, and there we go. So can he actually get into the Son of Osiris? Kind of. Yeah, the FPS getting a bit funny, but at this point I'm just not gonna be bothering changing the settings anymore. Just gonna be a bit annoying, so sorry. No, and finally he actually caught him in the open, no, and the fight at this point should be getting a lot better. However, it depends if Kimo was having enough time for upgrades. He's having at least double bronze there, which is kind of nice. You can say about now heavy Spiros for a Doubt. He is gonna be right now ready with Champion Kontari, Copperino, and bronze shields. already actually though. Wow, conscript. Interesting. Getting it quite a bit quicker. It's also made quite a lot cheaper here, right? Coinage, for example, 180. You know, the Heka Gigantes is gonna be getting Titanomachy for them. Increasing their damage, so he's gonna be therefore wanting to jump around somewhere, I guess. What kind of favor does Dowd have? Just 10, he needs to be getting more oracles. More oracles are gonna be needed here for him. Economically, no, still stuck on second level, that's not that great. Hey, look, funny llamas how they jumping around. But whatever the case, horse is right now ready for action. But he can't be entirely getting through all that easily here. You can see of course the spearmen are gonna be quite an easy counter. You can see how they're completely destroying them. No, not too surprising. Something that needs to be handled a bit better. And Doubt is gonna be without one of the PCs at least at this point. Can't be surprised that he hasn't walled himself in, for example, to the top side to prevent Blue from getting into him. Somewhat surprisingly with some catapult, for example, or something. Right? Can just kind of make a siege workshop here, Kimo. And then can be having some sneaky catapult there. And probably Red will be having a bit of a problem to handle it. As Kimo, economically he's gonna be there fulfilled. Good to see that. And, well, now it's all about getting enough of the caravans. Again, we'll be kind of liking to see here comparison between villages and caravans. Be really nice. Additional information on the observing, but there again, just like really, the observing is evident that they just like never asked any kind of real streamer what you actually want to be knowing or not. So I guess that community is gonna be having to fix it again. Kinda sad that though somebody got money for that. Had somebody been capture H team. Wow, that was properly wasted, actually, VortiX. No, sad story, but Doubt is gonna be finally getting at least the archers. Should be getting them again a lot earlier, but nonetheless, at least now they're gonna be finally coming up. And he's also increasing or upgrading ballistics with also champion in archers. And we're gonna be having the mummies here. Of course, they don't have insta-kill anymore. So at this point, what do they precisely actually do? Curse enemy units, converting them into minions if they fall. Okay, only when they die. Now that's definitely something that could maybe... Oh, it's weaker of course, but it's something that maybe could be motivating players to use them. It's a bit weird that they were very lowly used in original game, because you know, just like removing the enemy unit from the fight instantly and getting yourself a fighter is really super powerful. So again, another myth unit and kind of thing in the game that the original players were sleeping upon quite a bit. And of course that's gonna be another side attack on the left side. Currently it's gonna be at least Radeon with the Speedos. Gonna be having quite nice speed at this point. 5, still the same-ish, but nonetheless. That is exactly what the doctor ordered. The villagers right now massacred up and down, unfortunately for Doubt, who is gonna be hoping to maybe push through right now the right side, but considering that Kimo is rather well established with the trade, then I don't think he's gonna be having that much of an easy time right now dislodging him Doubt. I think getting a good game here anyway. 25 minutes already. Slightly, just making note to myself that I probably need to be reducing slightly the music and the sound still. During the fighting, they are getting a bit high. But it doesn't seem like you're gonna be having that much of a break anytime soon. Oh well, interesting to be of course countering Spearman with Kontari, but I guess it was the fastest unit he could be at least getting there. As currently it doesn't seem like we are floating too many resources by the players. However, there's gonna be a pretty decent favor extra for Doubt, so maybe he can be again 25 right now for the VortiX. So if he could be getting himself like, I don't know, 2 extra. Okay, there we go. That's a weird flex. Okay, I don't get this one. It's way too far away. I mean, like, he's not blocked by anything. Just kinda needed to be getting a bit better vision. So better god power usage should be somewhat nice. Seems like we're also gonna be getting bronze weapons upgraded for Kimo. On the other side we are getting only, apparently at this point, tax collectors for better market selling. Yeah, getting into that kind of territory of the game, so why not? You can see he's floating a bit of food right now as well. So it's a bit interesting considering he's constantly losing villages through raids. He is seeming to be keeping things well under control. Though he's a bit lower on the pop limit, as you can see, only 235 as opposed to... Oh, well, 235 is actually fine, because Isis is having the 5 per TC, so she is... They are correct. But interesting is that we don't have any kind of mercenaries here at all. For example, Kimo is having decent gold. Having some new autocues on the villages. No, I mean, like, he's having some decent losses. We are hearing villages dying here and there practically constantly, but as this is going on, there's also gonna be right now counter-attack to the south, which yet again caused the doubt his from TC. So it almost looks like he might be... No, he's not gonna be able to jump back, because if they were sure, maybe he could be scrounging it somewhere with a few more oracles. But he's gonna be having right now the timer that's gonna be preventing him from doing anything, so he can't do it. He's gonna be having to stay put in the spot. Well, that's probably something that's gonna be at this point a bit too much for him to handle. He also doesn't seem to be having enough resources even for heroes. Though he could. If he's gonna be selling a few resources, then even the gold is gonna be there. So I'm guessing it should be possible and playable. Army to the top already destroyed. Town center, of course, is gonna be right now replaced as soon as possible as well, but nonetheless, fortunately, Doubt is currently also losing housings, so that's why he's gonna be having such a low pop limit as opposed to the opponent. But bigger problem is that he's not entirely having the strength anymore to even produce the units. He's basically like out of gold. So when he lost the TC, he was running the trade from some top markets to there, it seems like, even though there is any kind of market here anymore, so not sure if there was one or not. But yeah, he has gotten himself into quite a deep trouble, and he's apparently unwilling to be selling the resources, even though he was getting the upgrades to make that exchange a bit better. So he kinda like does have the resources, he just kinda like doesn't have a capability of producing anything as much as he would be wanting. You can say now 16 on the military, 102 pop limit for the Isis for Kimo on the other side. Could be getting some extra god powers, but seems like at Kimo 4 monuments. Not much he can be doing more at this point, right, as an Ege. Maximum we can be trying to empower them, but that's pretty much it. Oh wow, fire siphons are gonna be in... No! Well, they're not gonna be entirely doing too much here, it seems. And shouldn't, rather. That's maybe like keeping the opponent slightly busier here, that's gonna be the maximum that is gonna be in. And of course the focused attack also on the left side. It's gonna be further improved by even burning page on top of it, engineers, and just getting everything that he needs at this point to put the game in the bag. And it seems like it is already like happily wriggling in there. This will be really hard for Doubt to properly turn around. Yeah, this point is gonna be quite a bit messed up. Only one TC for him. By the way, reminds me we don't see number of TCs here, right? Anywhere on the observing. So you have to be literally looking at the minimap and remembering, or like finding them there and counting. Somewhat of a basic thing that would be nice to have. No, and it's gonna be there for Kimo, getting the victory here and getting himself quite a bit of a good scalp. But it was a nice game. I mean, like, it was half an hour of gameplay that we have had here. Let's maybe go back to the map to check out some upgrades at the end. Doubt unfortunately got stuck on the second level and never managed to get into the last stage. Whereas for Kimo he was having it long term. And when I'm at it, before I forget, let's put it all to 25, I think. Can get them voice chat here, but nonetheless. Who in their right mind would be doing that? Especially if you're gonna be streaming on top of it. And on the units, Kimo is gonna be already fully ironed. Only on the levy, not having the last one yet for conscription. Funeral rites for them, for champion spearmen, human soldiers resource. Returned on that 5 gold. It's actually really nice. It's a very good upgrade. How much does it... Wow, that's so cheap. No, that's a must upgrade. That's what I was mentioning really so often. That the decreases in the costs of upgrades are another completely stupid decision. Because you're just gonna remove in, again, tactical thinking. Because you don't have to think about this, you just get it. Because it's so damn cheap that you are always gonna be getting advantage from that. Whereas if you have an upgrade that is costing like 400 food, for example, you have to be thinking real hard when you want to be implementing that into your army, even if it's a great bonus. But with these costs, you just don't, you just get it. I'm burning bush, since we are looking through Kimo's point of view. Champion Contarius, you can see right now gonna be there for bronze, right? Yes, full bronze. Having the conscription there for the faster creation. No, as he mentioned, no, the big problem was that he was so heavy onto horses. He completely neglected Contari, especially against the son of Osiris, and he could have been killing him probably quite a bit faster with Archie. And he would have been therefore lowering the kind of pain that son of Osiris is to Atlanteans. It might have been maybe a better chance on not letting simply Kimo get into the stage that he got into with his economy and everything, and upgrades especially. Even monument to pharaohs. Missing the monument to gods, of course. And also not picking up some relics. Okay, let's have a look there for into the post game. If you're gonna be having some fun, interesting stuff here. Good game. Okay, so so that didn't work in beta, did it? So if you're gonna be giving good game, it probably is there for opening. Huh. Some kind of chat room with the player you are playing with. That reminds me, I didn't even wish him GLHF, the first guy. Oh, well, kind of feel bad about it. I want to be doing that, but just completely slipped my mind. GG then, you can't be typing after, unfortunately. Or at least maybe... I actually didn't notice if that was there after a normal game. Maybe you can actually at this point type after the game is done. You'll have to check that out. If there is post-game chat as in original. Yeah, after that Imperial Age or Mythical Age, there definitely was quite a crisis there. Civilian and somewhat fine-ish. How you find recorded games in Retold? What do you mean? Like your own... You want to be watching your own recorded games, or where they are located, and so that you can send them somewhere? What do you mean? Or if you want to be observing live games? No, other players have to be posting them somewhere. That's gonna first. Otherwise you can observe live games. Can be showing you in a moment. Like observe other players, yeah. It's unfortunately completely stupid. So there's no way to search for anybody specific. So you have to be kind of like clicking through the games. Unless they're gonna be naming their game, for example, for tournament. For tournaments, it's hopefully gonna be a bit easier if players are gonna be at least wanting to help a bit and naming their games properly. But for like live matches, you're just gonna have to be clicking through the games and be lucky. Yeah, that's the sad reality. You can see on the resources what was the difference in the end. Uh, 20,000 resources more for Kimo. Have a really good raise there by Kimino. Fortunately, Doubt. It kind of fell to me. It looked definitely that Doubt simply doesn't have the experience with, for example, even how to use VortiX properly. So once we get that once he gets that information, he is gonna be able to do it better. So it definitely was missing experience. And Kimo still was having a huge problem with him. And if Doubt simply played more optimally, I'm really thinking that he maybe could have beaten Kimo, who knows. But yeah, the suboptimal plays by Doubt were simply there. 355 for 16. Nice advance, Aegis or other advances. Of course, the research is logically. And GG. No, and Rubabe, how you can be watching the games? You just go into browse games and, well, once you load in, you get into browse games here in multiplayer. I'm just gonna go with the whole path. Multiplayer, browse games. And you're gonna be getting a list of games here. So these are either to... This is also to join or not. I'm not entirely certain if it's only those that are done or not. That should be both. But I just like randomly don't see any open one here. I'm not sure if maybe people... I guess people aren't hosting custom games for people to join. It's only friends always. It seems unlikely, but I can imagine maybe that being the case. But nonetheless, you have the filters, and if you want to be observing game, then best to be... Aha! Oh, that's because I'm having observable. I probably should be getting joinable then. Yes, okay. Yeah, I was having it filtered off. Of course, observable is gonna be only the one that is already running. So observable, you can be having some settings, number of players potentially if you want to be only 1v1. But unfortunately, that's it. You can't be really choosing anything else. So that's kinda sad. No, and then you just have a list of games. And then you have to be going through them and seeing which kind of players you want to be watching. And then you have to be lucky that you can actually join the match, because it's not working every time. Sometimes you can be even just like too late that they finish just the game or something. No, this way. And then when you select the game, you get spectate here to the right, and you can therefore go in. If it loads for you, then it's gonna start in as a ranked game practically in a similar way. And you can watch whoever. By the way, if you host a game, spectator delay, allow spectators, okay, so you can turn it off. Yeah, that's gonna be a pain with tournaments. It's still a pain in Age of Empires 2. Every here and then somebody's gonna be having some practice games they want to be hidden, and then they play tournament and forget to switch it back on. And you can't spectate that, and suddenly tournament is of course messed up. What kind of pings do we even have here? Brazil 200, Korea 250. They don't have Australian servers. Oh, there, yeah, they do. Southeast Australia, okay, 250. Italy North, Western Europe. Central US 140. Sakana. Sakana actually high maybe, but it is far away, so can't be doing much. No, but yeah, but that's gonna be there for it for tonight. Just gonna want it to be jumping in. Thanks to ChronoJJ and his huge generosity that he provided me with the game. So I wanted to be having at least one before the official launch. No, and we're gonna be there for, as I mentioned, playing on Wednesday, classic Age of Mythology community games. Not sure if it's gonna be playing or only casting as it always has been. Depends. Probably looks like, not entirely wanting to be promising anything, but we might be having more Age of Mythology sessions than only the one. Maybe a bit more commonly. Not sure what you're gonna be doing on Thursday, as I still do have like one match I'll be maybe liking to do from World Desert Championship from the previous round. That I don't think was actually even streamed too much. So maybe that to be curious to work with. No, and of course you're gonna be having the replays. I'm gonna be potentially posting the replays on my Discord probably. If you're gonna be interested. Not sure if on RTS Sanctuary you can be probably uploading them because of the different ending in there. So if you're gonna be interested in some of those that we did today, we streamed VortiX, or the VortiX, and it was a bit of a not much interesting game, it was way too quick and short. Then we were having Two Nublex boys, Dratek and Marky. My clanmates from 20 years ago. Some 2v2. No, and right now the last one was definitely the most interesting. And we had that one played game ourselves, which, again, kind of feeling sorry for that player. What we did to him, that wasn't too nice. No, but nonetheless, kind of like a bit weird. When it works, then I guess. But really the problem with half of the games not even being able to join the spectating, or even just like, even managing to play one ranked game. And for hours it just like wasn't letting us to even play a game in the first place, so I don't know what's up. If it's having something to do with the Xbox network, maybe something we can test on Wednesday if we're gonna be logged off and it's therefore not gonna be again allowing us, I don't know. What's up with that? No, I also have to be playing a bit more with the graphical settings to see what's gonna be optimal. Because there is something that is changing performance a lot. For team games it is, but I need to be figuring out which one it is somewhere off stream. So I'm not sure if you're gonna be just playing on absolutely no details whatsoever, which at least doesn't look as trash as on beta. It's unfortunately worse looking than the original game, which is sad. But hopefully I'm gonna be able to find some middle ground on those stable 30 FPS even in team games. So that it's at least somewhat watchable. I'm having 30 FPS stream myself, so not like the FPS matters too much. And I'm kinda used to playing games like that on my old computer. But for kinda like the niceness of the graphics, would be kinda liking to find something maybe a bit better. Okay then, so I guess that's gonna be there for it for tonight. We are going to be there for finding maybe somebody to recommend. Otherwise, I can be switching over different streams. No, and therefore thank you very much everybody who stopped by. And also thank you Katidenks for your resub for 31 months already. And somebody else subbed as well. I just kinda don't see it anywhere. So I don't know who it was. But rest assured, thank you very much. And also thank you Stormy Normanau. Thank you very much for the follow. And Rubabe, Kiluminati, Katidenks, Stephen, Nimonom, Stormy Normanau. Thank you very much for stopping by on the chat. Or if somebody else was also looking around here and watching, or maybe from the past broadcast is gonna be interested, then very much also appreciate it. So what kind of streams do we have right now running? Otherwise, of course, as usual, visit RTS Sanctuary and Age of Mythology Heaven. I'm not entirely certain if Age of Mythology Heaven is actually having some, at this point, mod center or whatnot for Retold. And that's gonna be something legit. If you want to be playing the original game, Woob is still working. The player numbers, of course, plummeted. But there are still plenty of games being played, to be honest. Even though there are 50-60 people, they do have a lot of games done. It's mostly like 1700 minus. There are also some better players still who haven't switched into Retold, but mostly the low level, so you might still be able to find games there. Like last week we even streamed, for example, a community game, even when Retold was already going. So yeah, if you have just the original, or you prefer that, then there is definitely opportunity for you how to play. So at this point, what's going on? Apparently Boyd is starting. No, well, Doubt is still playing, so we are just going to be therefore recommending him, of course. As we should. Then Yoresla casting Illuminati is on with some games. Kevin Light Yagami Ulysses is doing some games. T-West from Age of Empires 2. Juggernaut Jason. There's some kind of like, I don't know if StarCraft player, but he was in Stormgate and right now he's apparently enjoying Age of Mythology. So some maybe interesting playerino. Kimo doesn't seem like he's streaming, maybe just stopped, I don't know. Ah, Setfet is right now streaming as well, some Retold games. Interestingly, Fafurkan. Actually, right now, Fafurkan, like 2 days or 3 days ago, I noticed him with like 100 viewers, or almost 100. I wonder if somebody like randomly hosted him, because I don't know where he would specifically get those numbers otherwise. No idea. Pelos also streaming. I've seen him with Rob El Tirano playing some games, but we didn't cast. And all kinds of other players. Seems like Super Saffron is still playing Extended Edition, if you wish. Sylvie who as well. Doesn't seem like there's gonna be. Maybe Starko is gonna be streaming Woobly games. He has been doing that the past few days. Also Macro is streaming Extended Edition. 7 decent viewers, but well, they're of course gonna be there because of him. Not because of the game. And Nunez Knight is also streaming. That's an Age of Empires 2 caster of plenty Latino tournaments. So you are having plenty things to right now choose from. So probably some kind of random list, but you can just kind of switch over into Age of Mythology and choose your own. Okay, so that's gonna be it for tonight. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Blackadder at Blackadder's Plays. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you again, Katidanks and the mysterious subscriber for the sub, and Stormy Normanow for the follow, and everybody for stopping by on the chat. Again, Rabape, Killuminati, Katidanks, Stephen, Nimonom, and Stormy Normanow himself, and anybody else who was maybe lurking around here. See you later.